No.
From Corolla One Studios in Glendale, California, this is The Adam Carolla Show. Adam's guest today, Jeff Garlin. With Gina Grad on news, Bald Brian on sound effects, and Yahoo Sports expert Brad Evans calls in with his Week 12 picks. And now, ambassador to Who Gives a Crapistan, Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get it on. No choice but to get on a Monday. Get it on. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for hitting the share button. It makes a difference. Good day, Gina Grad.
Good day to you.
And Bald Brian.
Meth. I'm on it.
Let's play a fun game called Contrasting Palettes.
Oh.
All right.
Gina Grad, as
yes.
we record this, it's 1 p.m. here.
Mm-hmm.
What have you consumed today in terms of a dietary?
Okay. I've had some sliced deli turkey and cheese and an avocado.
Okay. Whole or half avocado?
Whole, but they're the mini. They're
Mini
not
avocado.
huge, yeah.
Okay. So you're all
Small
protein.
pit, yeah.
Cheese, what kind of cheese?
Gouda.
Ooh, nice.
Nice.
Ball Brian,
Yes, sir.
what have you consumed
I'm kind of a dog.
today?
I'm kind of a dog in this way. I do the same thing every day. To this point in the day, I have had 2 eggs over medium with cheese sprinkled on shredded cheese, sort of a cheddar mozzarella mix with hot sauce and 2 chicken sausages.
Sticking
like breakfast
with the
legs.
Vinny Day.
And coffee with heavy cream and stevia.
All right.
We get it. You're
and
keto.
Max
That's the
Apata,
question.
what have you consumed thus today?
I've only consumed a cup of coffee.
Okay. What was in the coffee?
Just black.
Okay. I have consumed a cup of coffee with the nut butter. Who did we give out an Adam's Monthly Nut this month? We gave out it's like a cocoa nut butter.
Delish.
Oil nut butter. We'll figure it out. I should have been prepared, but this is a little bit off the fly. I had that mixed up, little cream, little bit of the what was that stuff? It's sitting. I think we have a jar of it in the kitchen, or we've been hitting off it. It's like you spoon it out, comes out in a sort of rough, smooth peanut butter kind of form.
Okay.
And you dump it in your coffee and you mix it up, and it's got the coconut oil in it.
Do you use the frother?
I do. I like myself. But Max Apata will find that. I'm sorry I'm putting everyone on the spot. It's just it was part of the monthly nut, and it's been like sitting out here the whole time. So
Is it oil or is it like the scoopable?
It's peanut. It's the consistency of peanut of smooth peanut butter.
Peanut butter jar.
And you scoop it in. It's Coffee Booster, and it's the original high fat coffee creamer.
Can I check it out?
And yeah, check it out. It looks it looks like Nutella. Anyway,
Yes, it does.
spent
Smell
too
it.
much time. Anyway, I've had a cup of coffee with that in it.
Ooh,
Okay.
okay.
Dawson, what have you had up until this point?
4 tacos and a jumbo jack with cheese.
That was quick.
Now, let me try to defend you. It's a 2 for $99 deal, which gets you to 4. But if you could
raised
buy
it.
3, you'd do 3,
If
right?
3 was a deal, I'd go for 3.
Right.
Yeah.
You're forced to eat the 4th taco.
They had
Yeah.
3 for $99.
Well, you get 2 for $99. If they had 3 for $1.49, you'd probably punch that ticket, right?
Sure.
But
But
you're
coming quantities.
But I'm
too.
going for I can't more than 2.
you got to have more than 2.
Right.
So you're forced to step up to your 4th Jack in the Box taco.
Correct.
And then the Jumbo Jack, you made the trip.
Standard fare.
You're there. All right. So those are, I just thought, I didn't know what everyone ate. I assumed everyone was a good little boy. There weren't any Belgian waffles in there or anything,
No.
but I thought it'd be comical just to do a little
That was good.
contrast. Four in a Jumbo Jack.
Yeah.
That is powerful eating.
Number 4.
All right.
I love that you just knew. There was no pre-prep. We weren't told to think about what we ate. You just knew that was going to happen.
I know everyone's a good little girl and a good little boy. I also know we're coming up on Thanksgiving and people are trying.
I'm banking my cheat days because I'm having
Right.
mashed potatoes and stuffing.
Right.
That's happening.
Absolutely. All right. I want to thank Geico.com, Castrol Edge for this. So we got this review. So I was thinking to myself, all right, I have a couple things. We got a review on No Safe Spaces, just calling me and Prager jerks and hateful people and everything like that.
Everything's right on
schedule. And then it kind of went on to say that these guys just want to enter an echo chamber where they just hear their own ideas and they don't want to debate, blah, blah, blah. And I thought to myself, I remember listening to a show some years ago where Dennis Prager. Now, the thing that's unfair about that is if you talk to Ben Shapiro, he says, after I'm done speaking, if you disagree, you go first.
Exactly
you line up first. So line it up. If you disagree, bring it. And I've heard Dennis Prager say many times, I'll go on any show, and I invite everyone to come on my show. They don't come on his show, but he will go on anyone's show and debate them or discuss his ideas with them. So I thought this notion of like surrounding yourself in this echo chambers, it's really bad reporting, because in the doc, you have Ben Shapiro say, if you disagree, you're first. Bring it. So,
and I'm sorry, what's Prager's line? I'd rather have clarity than... agreement.
He said, I'd rather have clarity than agreement.
Yeah.
So we may disagree, but let's at least be clear on what each one is talking about. So I got the review, and I thought the review was interesting, and I told MaxPad to pull the lowlights. It's so funny. Most of my reviews, I find I pick out the bad ones, and then I pick the lowlights of them, and then I have them read back to me.
Yeah. It's a certain type of...
It's a certain type of wiring.
Yeah,
the good ones aren't nearly as entertaining. No. And then I hearkened back to a conversation that Prager had with a challenger on the phone of his show. And it's a little long, but it's kind of interesting because he will educate you on the differences between different forms of government, which I found interesting. And I don't feel like everyone knows, and I certainly didn't know it myself. So I found it interesting, but I also found his style interesting. So we have the review. Yep. And it says what? I told him to highlight three bad things or something.
All right, so the title is Documentary Review. No Safe Spaces smirks through conservative free speech victimhood. And this is by Roger Moore. And he writes...
Not the good Roger Moore.
The best Bond.
Mm-hmm. It's just that mutual admirers, Adam Carolla and Dennis Prager, two smug, smirking jerks having a conservative free speech circle smirk, aren't the guys...
That's good, actually.
I do like circle smirk.
Aren't the guys to host...
Maybe this is the good Roger Moore.
They're not the guys to host such a debate and give it a high-minded, fair hearing in this most divisive of eras. Calling
Dennis Prager smug is right up there with when they called Dr. Drew preening. Drew don't smug and preen, and neither does Prager. Right. You can disagree with them, but they don't smug and preen. That's a Mussolini item. And then there was another thing that I'm just using to set up this audio clip that I think you guys will find.
He writes...
enjoying on a sort of enjoyable on a human level, but I also think you'll probably learn some things. Here we go.
Then he writes, conservatives don't want debate. They want safe spaces where they can deliver their message without rebuttal, ridicule, and fact-checking on the fly. The echo chamber of this film underscores that. 1 out of 4 stars.
All right. So...
Not 0.
I was thinking, all right, so let's listen to an example of somebody calling into Prager's show who's challenging him or disagreeing with him on something. Now, to be fair, it's not a hard-line guy who's coming at him with nails showing. But it's a guy who's sort of saying, yeah, but what about this? But how about that? And we'll see how Prager handles it. But also, the next time you're writing a review where you're calling like Prager a dope, keep this conversation in mind, because this is off the top of his head. This is just somebody calling into the show and him punching line 3.
All right, let me take this good challenge here. 1-8-PRAGER-776, Sean, Sacramento, California. Hi.
Hi, Dennis. I just wanted to say that I'm not understanding how an affirmative action hire is communism, because isn't communism where we basically... The people, supposedly own the means of production, even though it's usually, the head of state, basically. But communism is an economic system. It's not really. I'm not understanding the connection.
Communism is in part economic, but when this professor who lived under communism in Romania says it's becoming communist, he doesn't mean Columbia University will own the means of production. Columbia University is not an economic system. So he means it in terms of culture. He means it in terms of the suppression of dissenting views and the forcing of a one way of looking at life onto its faculty. That's what he means. He doesn't obviously mean anything to do with economics. But communism is way more than economics.
Communism. Wouldn't that be more totalitarianism or a form of dictatorship, or versus
right? But the only outside of the one exception of Nazi Germany, 99% of totalitarianism in the last 100 years has been communist. So totalitarian and communist is almost, not entirely, but because there's also religious totalitarianism like in Iran, but there is.
No, I would say you have to look to like some of the South American dictatorships too to see that, or Spain.
There were
no
the only South American dictatorship that has been totalitarian has been Cuba.
What about Argentina under, or
It was authoritarian. It's a very important distinction. There are many dictatorships. Not all dictatorships are totalitarian. Totalitarian comes, of course, as you know, from the word total. It means that you can't do anything except that which is permitted by the state. Whereas dictatorships allow you to do anything they want except what they ban. There's a big difference. One is you can do whatever you want except for the following things. That's dictatorship. Totalitarian is you can't do anything except what we permit you to do. They're not the same thing. So one is far.
I don't think communism ideology. I think it folds into like dictatorship. I think it basically often slides into dictatorship. But the thing is that it's kind of like a dogmatic religion. It's this sort of if you're living in a kibbutz, basically, it sort of has a communist system, but it's basically it's not a dictatorship.
Yeah, because all right, but a kibbutz had a few hundred people.
I understand.
It's not comparable to a country. Also, the kibbutz communism, and I used to visit kibbutzim all the time when I was younger, and I went to Israel every year, and I would stay at a kibbutz every weekend, and it was not at all communist in terms of ideology. It was communist in terms of economics. That is correct. Everything was owned. Go on.
Like. You wouldn't call like Pinochet a totalitarian?
Right, that's correct. People, I'll give you one. I'll give you one example. Chileans were free to leave Chile. That alone means you're not a totalitarian state. If you're free to leave a country, that immediately renders the country much less than a totalitarian. It's not a jail. That's a big part. That's a big part of totalitarianism. I'm very happy you called, and I thank you for doing so. Let me continue this article about what's going on at Columbia.
One thing that is so refreshing about listening to him, he can have whatever views he has. He has all the information at his fingertips, and that's all great. His blood pressure and his heart rate do not raise.
No.
He's not screaming and ranting and raving and calling them an idiot. He's just explaining what he knows and sort of letting the silence be his mic drop.
That's why when he gets all these sort of negative things grafted onto him, hateful or whatever it is, it's always funny because there's nothing there. It's like Drew preening. It's like nothing.
Smugly preening.
There's not a smugly. I forgot. He's like smugly preening. It was an old article, but. I like that because, he always lets the person finish or go on, say their thought. And then second, he goes, tell me if you disagree. We have a challenge. And then he goes, thanks for calling in. And then he doesn't yell at the person. He just tells them.
He doesn't hang up on them.
It tells them what the facts are, or at least the facts that he knows. But it's also crazy how much he knows about regimes and governments around around the world. But I'm just saying there's discussions. So you can be totally civil, and we can have them, and it's easy. Although it's fun to yell every once in a while. All right. We have, I wrote down a couple things. I had an interesting call earlier today when I was doing Ace on the House, which was, now we all know the story of my nephew and how he didn't like to come in or do things I asked him to do, and general work in general. And there's a little bit of a difficulty with like a younger group or coming into a workplace because they're not ready to work, or at least their version of work isn't the version of work that's in my head. I have a version of work that's in my head that I've sort of constructed over the years from working. And obviously, whatever random 19-year-old's version of work, like what they're picturing in their head is not close to what I'm picturing in my head. And there's going to be a problem there because they have a different version of work than I have. And unfortunately, I'm the boss. So now there's the bigger problem, although that's not included in their version of work. I'm not the boss in their version of work. I'm someone else who's in the building with them at the same time.
You know what's another big factor I'm kind of thinking about right now is like, you know what a narrative that's being amplified, especially on social media, is like success at a very young age as an influencer or as whatever.
Just showing up
some
and putting
version
the camera
of,
on.
yeah, exactly. You're now the thing that's on social media. You're 17, 19, 20, whatever you are. And that is a very, 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 very small slice of society. And the fact it's almost like, the kid that's like, I'm going to play center field for the Yankees. Like, you probably won't.
All I had was Leif Garrett. And I understood it was because of his hair, and there's no way I could get my hair to do what his hair was doing.
You
so
stared at that poster above your bed.
I picked up a shovel and didn't ask questions.
Can't feather this.
So I realize there is a disconnect, and there's a new generation, and we're sort of picturing all these young college kids or young kids coming into the workplace, but it's a white collar place that we're picturing. Or that we're picturing white-collar kids coming into a white-collar world. I spoke to a fireman a few hours ago during Ace on the House. He's asking a home improvement question. And now I know from the guys I worked carpentry with that there were oftentimes training to be firemen. And a lot of them, there's a lot of cross-pollination between firemen and carpenters. When you're a carpenter, you need to know, when you're a fireman, you need to know how structures are built. You need to know where to walk when you're on a roof of a house that's on fire. And there are things called fire blocks and walls and things like that. They construct houses with fire in mind, and the guys who put out the fires with the construction in mind. And they work a 4-day on, 5-day off schedule, which means most of them work other jobs, have other jobs. And those jobs are carpenter or cabinet maker because they're not accountants. They're not like white-collar guys. And they learn and they get a little side business going. And sure enough, this guy, he was a fireman and he was a builder too. And he knew other guys who did it. And he said, but the new breed, the young dudes, the 22-year-old firemen, they don't do shit on the side. They just take their 5 days off. Like they play Angry Birds. They ain't working that other job with their 5 days. That's 5 days. They're taking it. And I said,
it's like a vacation every other week.
Why do you think I wanted to be a fireman? Like I was like, oh, you guys playing foosball and eating chili and having a good old time. And it's like, you're getting paid while you sleep. Hey, if nothing breaks out on a Sunday, you're watching football all Sunday and eating chili with the boys. Have to figure out a way to get the beer into the Pepsi free can. But other than that,
you're gonna want to look alert.
I think the tell for the Corolla would be me throwing the guy the keys as I was staggering toward the fire engine, because normally I insist on driving. But I think if you saw me throwing him the keys while I'm running,
you're good.
I'm in no shape.
Yeah, get a little practice in. So it was interesting to me that even amongst the firemen who are kind of the blue-collar worker dudes, that group has been infected as well. And we sort of thought of it as the college boys, but he said these new dudes ain't working.
Yeah, and they're the working man.
And he said it's also hard. It's hard to get them there. Like they're late a lot. Like they're not there.
I don't want them coming to my fire emergency.
Hard to get them to show up and things of that nature, which I thought was wow. It's really pervasive now. It's like it's taken over the entire culture. It's the college campus and it's the firehouse.
This is the one place you don't want that work ethic.
Yeah. God knows. All right. Let's see. What do you do about flight attendant?
Oh.
Hey, Emily, 24 Chicago.
Yes. Hi, Adam. Gina, Bald. How are you?
What's going on? You have a question?
Yes, I do. So I have been listening to your show. My older brother, he's 31. He showed me a couple of years ago. So I've been listening to you for a while.
Thanks.
This year, I love you guys. I also was the one who reminded you about the genie with the 10-foot weenie.
Mm-hmm.
So
I thought it was a snake and hit it with a rake, and now it's 5'4".
yeah, good one.
Yeah, not as good as Jed Clampett banging his aunt or his daughter, whoever it was. But
Don't
sorry.
sing it, or else it will knock it out of my head for about a month.
Yeah, and the Batmobile lost the wheel, and the Joker got away. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, Emily.
Yeah, no problem. So this year, since you've been picking up more gigs, you've been flying a lot, I've listened to your frustrations with the aviation industry.
Mm-hmm.
And I have an interview next month in Texas for Envoy Airlines. They are a American Airlines group.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wondered your take on the position of an FA, if you have any stories or any qualities that you search for. I just kind of want to hear your take on the position and what you would expect from, your flight attendant.
Well,
other than
look.
I mean, bartenders?
Yeah.
I'm a bartender too.
I call you guys.
Perfect.
You're hired.
I call you guys sky tenders, right? You're bartenders
Yeah,
in the
right.
sky.
Skykeep.
By the way, the new policy of when you go, I have a Bloody Mary, and then she drops you off the can and the thing, and then drops you off the little bottle of Smirnoff, and then drops the second one off, like say, hey, don't bother me, bottle.
Yep.
Like here's a little,
Yep.
here's a little
For
something
later.
for the road. I like
That's
that.
a good
I like
policy.
where you're heading there.
Yeah, totally.
All right.
I will.
Don't tell them that, though.
All right. I won't. Don't bother me, bottle.
So much of that job is demeanor.
Yeah.
Just demeanor, that tone where you're not on your last nerve because the person sat in the wrong seat or picked the wrong bin or whatever. It's like so many of those people in that world are sort of already. It's like if it was a tachometer and the red line was 7,000, they start at 6,500. They have no room.
They're on the edge.
Yes, just be idling, would you? And then you have a little room if there's a little snafu or a situation or a little something. It's an interesting thing, and I would implement this if I were you. Remember when you were a kid and they'd go, you'd be chewing gum in class and go, did you bring enough for the entire class? And it's like, I got it, but they can't smell it. When somebody sits a row over and pops open a Quiznos and it's a hot sandwich
food.
and you're smelling toasted bread and savory beef and
Pass it
cheese
around.
and it's just permeating the whole cabinet and you're like, shit, I got Fiesta Mix. And they're like eating a full Quiznos, like they're eating ground food.
Yeah.
That's like in and out in jail, you're like, oh, look at
How?
him. Who do I got to blow to get a bite of that sandwich? And it permeates the cabin. I'd say that's my argument for get enough for everybody. The gum I can't smell.
Right.
Yeah,
Chew
nobody
all-
cares
Yeah,
about
here or
that.
there.
Chew all you like. My policy would be you may have a sandwich and chips on this flight. No hot and savory. I can't smell that shit
Yep.
wafting over.
No Krispy
grabs
Kreme.
me.
No.
Yeah, I can't have anything hot that's
Right
going
on.
to
No,
waft.
no wafting, yeah.
No wafting of any kind.
So, Emily, I think the goal is bring enough Quiznos for everyone and always have an extra bottle of Smirnoff.
All right. Wow.
Yeah.
I would never have gotten that, advice anywhere else. So I thank you. I thank you guys.
I'm coming out to Park West, I think, to do stand-up in a couple of months. And Jeff Garlin, who's coming in, did his special. Park West in Chicago. So there you have it, everybody.
I imagine it changes airline to airline via policy, but one thing I love when flight attendants do is rearrange the bags that are put up there by sociopaths. Like they have a regular roller bag, but put it sideways, or they have like their hat and they're like,
they'll re-Tetris
Yeah,
it.
they lay their jacket out. It's like, no. The flight attendant, fix that. We're all getting our bags up here. Fix it.
Thanks, Emily.
Yeah, thank you. Keep listening.
Good on you, man.
Good luck.
And thanks for listening. Got in the pool this morning.
Ew, it's raining.
Raining hard.
Thunder.
Yeah.
Lightning.
Got in
Not
that
interested.
pool. 59 degrees. Getting into the 50s now. I got to say, my pool use is right up there with my review highlights, which is
Only the worst.
You only want the
I
negative
don't
experience.
use the pool during the summer. Like I'm busy, I'm whatever. I'm not out there frolicking around in the summertime. So I really barely use the pool in the summer, but as soon as it starts raining and the leaves start falling,
What's wrong with you?
I'm in, baby. Now, the big problem is the nudity issue because when I like to go a buffo, as the great Richard Dreyfuss would say in whatever movie that was, the Goodbye Girl.
Goodbye, girl.
Wow.
Yeah,
a deep pull, man.
Deep cut. But but when it's raining real hard, I can't take the towel and lay it right by the edge
Oh,
there.
yeah.
I got to go inboard about 20 feet, and now it's a lot of nudity. All right, Brad Evans is on the phone. He's a sports genius from Yahoo Sports, knows football and knows basketball and knows them all. Hey, Brad.
What's cracking?
Yeah, man. Well, there are two games I liked, and they both work. But thank God I got in late on the Patriots win. There's a bunch of good games coming up this week.
That's right.
San Francisco, Green Bay.
Green Bay. I think Green Bay, San Francisco, but they're playing each other. Yeah.
What is is that a pick'em type game or where
I think
are we at?
they got Niners by 3 because they're at home. Brad would know.
Brad, what do we
Talk
got?
to the sports expert.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Niners laying 3 at home in that game that's flexed under the primetime lights on Sunday night. I actually like Green Bay here, fellas. You look at the Packers, 7-3 against the spread the last 10 games, 4-1 against the spread are the Pack in their last 5 road contests. San Francisco, meanwhile, in their last 10 games against Green Bay against the spread, 2-7-1. Aaron Rodgers, magical under the lights normally. And I think, honestly, right now, with Green Bay's ground game, with that 1-2 punch of Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams, and the struggles that San Francisco has had containing running backs, giving up 5.1 yards per carry the last 4 weeks to that position, I think the Packers going to win this game straight up. So I like the money line, actually.
The money
I
line.
don't even need the point.
What will the money line get you if you bet 100?
210.
Not that high. 100.
Yeah, it'll probably get you 120.
Oh,
it's probably
right.
about
It's
1
only
plus
3 points.
120.
Oh, yeah.
I want to say this about Aaron Rodgers because I've always had this kind of discussion with people, which is in sports, you need to relax. And when we see a guy like Muhammad Ali in the ring, he was the most relaxed. And that's why he was the most fluid. And that's why he had his speed. The speed comes from relaxation. And when you see guys like Darryl Strawberry swing the bat and stuff like that, they were relaxed. There's a relaxed, if you see a great batter or any batter, they don't hold the bat really tight and white knuckle it. They keep it kind of loose in their hand until the last moment. And Aaron Rodgers is relaxed. He's the most relaxed of all the court. He's relaxed in the press conference. He's relaxed on the field. He's relaxed when they're blitzing. He doesn't make tons of panicky bad decisions because his resting pulse is so relaxed. And no one ever really talks about the relaxed factor.
Cool under pressure,
Yeah, but
Joe Montana, for
it's sort of just cool all the time. Like they're just that's who they are, and they're able. When you're tense, if you're tense, you can't do stand up. You're going to have a bad first date.
Yep.
You're going to have a bad job interview, and you're going to have a bad 3rd and long. Like there is a relaxation that people need to sort of weave into their life. And again, you picture Aaron Rodgers. He seems so relaxed back there. But again, Muhammad Ali was like that was his whole thing. he beats the crap out of George Foreman because George Foreman is tense and angry and full of muscles and rage, and the super relaxed guy knocks him out. Sorry, Brad.
No, I'm with you. I mean, it's the perfect moment is in pretty much every snap for Aaron Rodgers. He is a chill pill on the field. He's just a marvel to watch, man, the way he's been picking apart teams. And really, to be honest with you, this season, I mean, Green Bay has been as reliant on the arm of Aaron Rodgers. I mean, Devontae Adams, I know he's dealing with a turf toe injury for a chunk of the year. He hadn't even scored a touchdown yet, and he had double figures in that category last year. I mean, it's been more about Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams on the ground, but having that balance has really kept the opposition on their heels.
You got another game you want to highlight?
Oh, hell yeah. I got a lot of them. I'm a degenerate. Let's go Oakland. The Raiders are back, baby. The silver and black breathing down the neck of the Kansas City Chiefs right now in the AFC West. They're laying 2.5 against those puddle jumpers in New York and the Jets. The Raiders 5-2 and against the spread in their last 7 games. I think they're going to win outright. I like the under in Dallas, New England on 46. I think that game's going to be a war of attrition. New England's gone under in 8 of its last 11 games. And on Monday night, too, I love the Ravens -3. It's really chalky. Yeah. Everybody and their great-grandmother is going to be on Lamar Jackson in Baltimore in this one. But the Rams are just lost offensively. That was a train wreck game against the Bears. I had to see my optometrist afterwards. A lot of blurry vision. It was just disgusting football.
I got it.
And I think the Ravens are going to win.
I got to tell you, losing the Super Bowl in either Rams fashion, like being the greatest show on turf and then coming in and scoring 3 points. I know it's a different team, but I mean, being a high-powered offense.
The
coming
marquee
in
offense.
And putting up 3 points in a Super Bowl, or having what happened to Atlanta. You're 2 or 3 handoffs away from beating the Patriots in the Super Bowl, and you lose it. Yeah. When you come off of that, you're basically like you're like a child who was molested by a priest.
Oh my.
You're just never right. Yeah. Like after that,
where do you go from there?
You got somebody fiddled with you a while ago, and it's like now you're in the supermarket and you've broken down in a heap of tears because the guy told you we're out of cassava melons, and he's wondering where it's all coming from. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's the same.
Rams were traumatized. They were traumatized in the Super Bowl, and Atlanta was traumatized in the Super Bowl, and they're not the same.
From that.
They're broken. They need deep therapy and possibly medication.
And a class action suit.
Get Dr. Drew on the blower.
Smugly training.
I mean, look at Atlanta. They're just like a broken team.
Yeah.
They just can't. It happens every time they have it right there, or they just come out dead in that game. It's just such a hangover. I think I love the Rams, but I think they're in for a loss.
Can I ask Brad a question? Brad, I have a question for you. I think, if I heard you right, did you mention the 49ers and the Packers' last 10 meetings?
Yes, that is correct.
Well,
I know there's been some bad San Francisco teams.
No. Yeah, I was about to say, why do the sports experts and the gambling experts bring that up? Because that's spanning far more than a decade, and those are some bad teams There's no one on those teams who's on this team. There's no one on that organization except for maybe the owner who's still associated with this team. That's just a weird thing. Why do people do that?
Is it over a decade?
They don't play every year, so it's been more than a decade.
Oh, okay.
The
Brad,
reason why
up?
we do it because it makes us sound smarter than we really are.
I knew it.
Wasn't that a satisfying answer, Brian?
Thank you, Brad. That's exactly what I was hoping you'd say.
Yeah, what is it? I don't know the schedule, but what does it take to play 10 times? Is it 15 years?
Well, it depends if you're in the same conference, division.
No, I mean, I'm talking about San Francisco.
But now, also, the Niners and the Packers had a decent rivalry when they both had good quarterbacks, so they probably played more frequently, like in the late 90s, but they probably haven't played as frequently in the last few years.
Because
the league will do that. Well, like, they used
to
put the Colts and the Patriots together every year, not in the same division, but they would do it.
God, those were good games.
Those were great games.
All right, take care of your bet DSI, would you, Brad?
Yes, sir. Look, if you're looking to add a little extra something to the action this weekend, make Bet DSI your betting partner. New members get a 100% bonus match using promo code ADAM101. Again, that's promo code ADAM101 to get double your money to start winning today. Why should you choose Bet DSI? Well, Bet DSI has been paying winners for 20 years. It has a very user-friendly interface and mobile site, and Bet DSI has the fastest payouts in the industry. Simply play, win, and get paid. You could also try live betting at BetDSI, where you can bet on games from start to finish, every play and every minute until the bitter end. New members get a 100% bonus match using promo code ADAM101. That's double your money to start winning today. Once again, go to BetDSI.com and use promo code ADAM101 and get this limited time 100% bonus offer to make some extra cash. It's only a game until you bet it at BetDSI.
Sorry for jumping in. The Fantasy Record's the name of the podcast. And catch Brad Evans on Apple and Podcast One. Thanks, Brad. Appreciate it.
Muchas gracias, amigos. Peace out.
Let's see. Jeff Garlin is pulled into the parking lot. He's on the phone, I think, in his car. If you remain on the phone after you park your car, it's usually good and oftentimes bad.
That's true.
That's what I would say. It's never in the middle.
Yeah.
No.
It's something, we got something brewing, and we got to keep it going, or there's some really bad news.
Yeah.
You're not making a
can't-
dentist appointment.
No. Mm-hmm. It's not casual.
I will. I think we will get. I think we'll get Jeff out, though. He's walking in now. Okay, good. Take a quick break. Come in with Jeff Garlin next.
It's time for Nicaraguan Name That Movie with Adam's buddy Oswaldo. See if you can guess which movie this famous line is from.
E.T. Fong Hong, E.T. Fong Hong.
If you said E.T. the extraterrestrial,
E.T. Phone home, E.T. phone home.
you're correct. Now, back to the show.
Oh, great Aussie. Jeff Garlin here. Good to see you, my friend.
Hello. That was really funny.
Ozzy's a funny guy, not intentionally, but
That made me laugh.
I've built houses and made movies with that gentleman, and the language barrier can be difficult at times. Stand-up special, by the way. So we got stand-up special, we got Goldberg's, we got Curb Your Enthusiasm. Stand-up special is very funny. Jeff Garlin, our man in Chicago, shot at Park West in Chicago. Beautiful, pretty legendary venue over there. And Jeff, who I've heard interviewed many times, talks about doing lots of improv, and maybe all improv sometimes for a stand-up set.
Yes.
But in this case, you said at the top, I got a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Yes, I worked 3 years on it.
Right.
Because it would be too risky even for me. And I'm totally comfortable literally going up with nothing when I do stand-up. Like nothing. Zero. Even as I'm walking to the stage, I have no idea what I'm going to say.
I remember a long time ago, I saw you do stand up, and you brought up a catalog, the Living XL magazine.
I did.
And just went through the pages of a magazine called Living XL for the big man's life.
Yeah, it was a catalog for fat people.
It was hysterical.
And so I had a beginning, a middle, and an end. I taped taped. I captured.
Yes.
I digitally captured 2 shows in Chicago. And the first one, I did the beginning, the middle, and end with maybe 10% improv. Second show, knowing that I had it in the can, I went all over the place. And that's the one I use as the special.
It was very funny, and I have to figure it out or apologize or something, because I played Park West many times, and I didn't know you shot it at Park West because it seemed kind of intimate. It seemed that you were walking off the stage, going down the stairs. Park West is kind of a big music venue, and it's got a kind of a high stage. And did you guys?
Very high stage.
Did you guys set it up that way?
I had nothing to do with that. My director, Chris Storer, he basically. 2 weeks prior to shooting the special, I changed my mind as to what the special was going to be. Not in terms of the material, but in terms of, I was originally going to do a wedding. I got married at Park West.
Really?
Yeah, years ago. And ironically, coming back is when I got divorced, filming the special. So I was going to do a wedding. Well, I'm watching Saturday Night Live, and I see Paul Rudd on Saturday Night Live doing like a toast with the audience as his monologue. That's what I was doing in my special. So I immediately went, all right, we're not doing that. And of course, Netflix freaked out. A24, my production company, they freaked out. Chris Storer said, no, I got your back. We're good. And he created, I had nothing. He goes, I'm going to make it look like sort of old Johnny Carson. We'll figure it out. And he and the DP, whose name I cannot recall, he was the DP on the movie 8th Grade. He's pretty spectacular.
Great movie.
Yeah, he's a great DP, and so they just what Chris Storer did was, Jeff Garlin, I know the way he works. I'm going to make an environment that he's really comfortable in.
Yes, it did
more so than the way Park West is normally.
It's a little, not in a bad way, but it's a little cavernous.
Yeah,
and it didn't feel intimate, and the way it was shot, the guy who played Park West 5 times had no idea there was such a Park West. So good job, I guess.
Thank you.
Off sugar, or
Yes.
have been. How much weight are you down since you stopped the
I
sugar?
know that my highest weight was 320.
320.
And I know I'm below 250.
Wow.
I could be 249. I could be 241. I don't know.
Is that all just being off the sugar?
It's being off the sugar, yes. But more importantly, I've learned to sit with my feelings.
Oh, isn't that the worst?
That's my diet plan.
Yeah.
My diet plan, because I did not diet at any point losing over 70 pounds. But I sit with my feelings, which is terribly uncomfortable, and I do not enjoy a second of it. But I know that it's temporary. It's 5 minutes, 5 hours, sometimes 5 days, but it is temporary and it will go away. I don't need food to... And by the way, I used to also eat in good times, too, if I was excited about something.
Well, maybe we could work out some sort of feelings exchange program where I sit with your feelings and then you sit with my feelings. And I don't think it'll be as disturbing to
It
either
would
one of
not
us.
be.
It'd be
Or
easier.
it might be more disturbing.
I might want a refund or a rebate.
Yeah. But that's a really funny idea. Oh, my God, sitting and exchanging feelings. Like, all right, there's some sort of machine.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it'd look a lot like the cone of silence from Get Smart, right?
Yeah,
that
yeah.
never worked. So you've become much more sort of thoughtful, I guess, over the years. I mean, I feel the same way. I feel like I don't know if it's mortality. I don't know if it's having kids that get older.
Well, by the way,
I don't know
you're
what it is.
naming 2 things that, of course, have something to. It's becoming a man. Over time, you become a man, and either you evolve or you don't evolve. If you evolve, you're more thoughtful. You're more present. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, we all know the kind of less. I mean, you think about guys who fight or guys. Look, if you talk to Mark Garrigus will always tell you his old man was like a DA or something, and they said if you just stopped guy like if if men between the age of like 17 and 26 were eliminated, there'd be no violent crime. There'd just be, you would never have violent crime. Nobody does it before that or after that. And it's like, of course, there's that weird window as a guy where you want to fuck and fight and do everything, and you have energy for everything negative. And then at a certain point, you're able to sit with your feelings a little more.
And as
sort of
time goes
contemplate.
on, more so.
Right.
I'm more at peace now, and I'm really well. What it is I realized that the key to everything for me was being kind to myself, which is still a struggle every day to be kind to myself. But I truly do every morning go in the bathroom, you know how you look when you wake up, and I look in the mirror and I go, hey! And I burst out laughing because it's so stupid.
Right.
And it sets a tone for the day. And then, at some point during the day, I'll screw it up by being less than I want to be as a person. But it sets a tone, and that's what I aspire to every day, is to be joyful.
Yeah, it's interesting. That's in the stand-up special, part of that. But I realize, like, I'm trying to figure out sometimes, because I hear people say, I have a lot of anxiety, and I go, I don't know, why do you have that? Like, stop it or knock it off or whatever. It doesn't resonate with me.
Right.
But then I
Adam
also
Carolla, therapist.
knock it off. All right, that'll be $100. No, but I also realize, like, I try to think. I go, well, how do you feel about yourself? Do you have anxiety? Do whatever? The reason I know I don't really like myself is because if I look at a picture of myself when I was 27, I'm like, oh, you're fine. Like, you're fairly handsome. What's wrong with you? And I go, the whole time I was 27, I thought I was an ugly pig and no girls like me. So how is it now I'm 55, I can look at a picture of myself and go, there's nothing wrong with you.
Who's that?
Why do I think there was something wrong with me the whole time?
Because what's the term called, like, when you're beautiful and you think that you're...
You have a dysmorphia?
Body dysmorphia.
Yeah.
I know for sure that I had that, because I look at pictures of myself at, let's say, 17 years old or 20 years old, and I go, you look at you.
Right.
And I remember feeling like a fat piece of shit.
Right.
That I wasn't worthy of anyone or anything. And I look now and I go, you're adorable. Look at you, you fucker.
Yeah.
Look at you. But I also think that goes along with being kind to yourself. And I got to tell you, certainly smoking weed and meditating helps in terms of calming my brain. Indica has helped. I don't do it very often. And being someone who's addicted to sugar, I got to be careful. Like, I remember my office used to be in the farmer's market.
Oh, boy.
And every day I would go down to the French restaurant below my office, and they would give me a glass of wine. Now, I've never been a drinker. I mean, I drank regularly when I was like in high school,
right?
But since then, since I'm 20, when I became a comedian, I went, well, I have no time to drink now if I want to. And then,
Adam, hear that?
But I would have a glass of wine, and I began looking forward to it.
Right.
So I just stopped it. Whereas weed, I can go 3 months and not, But
wait a minute, isn't, for some reason I'm having a weird recollection of a heavy set comedy writer Eddie Gordetsky. Had a office
same floor as me.
Maybe the big fellas should stay away from the farmers market offices.
I didn't have it's not helpful when you have a sugar addiction.
It's the Epcot Center of snack food.
It is. No, it should be.
Find a picture of Eddie Gordetsky. You're going to see a plus size model up there. But I'm saying, maybe you guys should have moved it out to Simi Valley.
Yeah, it would have been a lot better, because sugar's illegal in Simi Valley.
Oh, is that true?
But porn isn't.
Sorry, there's a picture.
What I was saying, though, is the premise of, I think that as you get older and calmer, the calmness comes from, for me, being kind to myself. And anxiety, which I used to have a lot of high anxiety. Boy, oh boy. And it just drifts away.
What is an example of being kind to yourself, other than the high-fiving the mirror in the morning in your underpants?
All right.
Pretty kind.
During the day, your inner monologue. During the day, how many times do you say, you idiot? Or, fuck? What? It's like moments like that. No, you're not an idiot.
Right.
I wrote one day. I wrote this on my Instagram profile, and it sort of has stuck with me. I don't even mention it very often, but I went like, "Wow, that's exactly it." Doing the best I can with the information I've been given.
Yeah,
every day. And so you're going to screw up. It's just part of it. And so I laugh at myself when I screw up.
I'm a little different. And for me, it's more about gratitude. I have to figure out that when I'm, somebody wants an interview and somebody wants you to do their podcast and somebody wants you, and I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, I'm so goddamn busy. Like, when are people going to do this? You have to stop and go, no, someone wants to hear your opinions on something. You get to sit in air conditioning and give your opinion. And you used to do construction for a living, so please knock off the complaining.
But by the way, that is a form of being kind to yourself.
The gratitude.
The gratitude, being humble. I found that ego... Look, I aspired to eliminate ego. That is impossible. But I recognize ego. What's your motivation here? I go through life... To me, I want to keep on building my confidence in what I do, in who I am, but also have gratitude, be humble. The combination of confidence and being humble is a big bowl of delightful.
And it's low cal.
It is low cal, though. It really is.
Curb Your Enthusiasm coming back January 19th.
By the way, you
HBO.
have the best voice. People always tell me how my voice is. My voice is distinct, and I've done my Pixar stuff and all that. But I love your voice.
Well,
I don't like it.
Well,
I
it's
love
a perfect. It's a perfect example of. I used to hear my voice on someone's, phone machine or something, and yell, "Make it stop!" or throw it into an aquarium or whatever. It's like my voice. Everything. Of course, I hated the sound of my own voice. I hated the reflection in the mirror. Like I was not over the top. Like kill yourself. I was just like, you can't work in radio. You sound weird. Your nose is weird. And Jimmy Kimmel didn't help, really, to be fair, because he said to me once when we were sitting in the office on the Man Show, he goes, when I was like 34, he goes, you look like Pete Sampras. And then he paused and he went, with Down syndrome. And I thought,
that's
now I feel even worse. But here's, you know what I did? In my head, I went, he is kind of right. He's kind of right. He's got a point. I do look a little like Pete Sampras with just some Down syndrome.
But there's no such thing as some Down syndrome.
A dusting of Down syndrome.
Your head would be twice the size.
In this hypothetical world I was living in, I was like, he makes a good point. Yeah. That's a good observation. He's a smart guy. Look, the reason he is where he is, he's not here because he's wrong. I remember
but Pete Sampras couldn't do a show like this.
That's right. That's right. Take that, Jimmy.
Yeah.
And now he's losing his hair as well. Look, let's not beat
There he is.
Beat up Pete Sampras, who, by the way, I met once at the Century City Mall, and he couldn't have been kinder. And I couldn't believe, like, he was walking towards me, and I was like, oh my God, that's Pete Sampras. And then he sees me, he goes, Jeff Garlin, and I went, oh my God, Pete Sampras knows. Thank you, Pete Sampras. You're Pete Sampras. Do you know what Adam Carolla? Yeah. And he said, yeah, the Down syndrome version of me. I said, yeah.
I do love about the thing that makes men is they have to tack on the Down syndrome part.
Yeah,
women would just say, you look
like an even prettier fill in the blank.
Yeah.
Well, by the way, a nice way of saying that to a woman when she looks like someone is like you look like someone's sister.
Yeah.
Throw in sister.
With Down syndrome.
All right, well, let me try it. Gina, you look like an even prettier Jeff Garlin.
Oh, my goodness.
Did that work?
I don't know how to feel. I think it feels good.
Curb is coming back. We're all excited.
January 19th.
I know. I saw Larry David at the Baldwin roast, and I was able to talk to him a little bit.
And we had Cheryl Hines in her.
Delighted, and Cheryl Hines as well. And then, of course, the Goldbergs. 7th season, Wednesdays, 8 o'clock on ABC. God, what? Just to be part, I feel like being part of something like Curb Your Enthusiasm, you want to talk about a blessing. Like, first off, it's just sort of recognized as the funniest show on TV. It just, when people disagree about the nuances of many shows, everyone sort of agrees. That's just, that's the Ferrari or the Duesenberg or whatever of TV comedies. And then also to have this kind of schedule where it's the 10th season, but it's spread out over 17 or 18 years.
20 years.
20 years.
Yeah.
And just to sort of always have it out there, and everyone is always hungry. Like they're always like, as soon as I talk to Larry David, it's like, well, come on, when's Curb coming back? Come on, I gotta get my fix of Curb. Like when's it coming back? Like you're kind of always in demand. Because you're not pushing it out or cranking out extra bonus and pushing it in everyone's face.
Well, no, you know why we don't push it out? Because Larry's incredibly rich and HBO wants the show.
Right.
So he does it at his discretion. And when he's got something funny to say, we do it. We're the only show. Look, I make a good living from Curb, great living. And we all do well, but for the first number of years, HBO referred to us as their little experimental show. The word little, literally. Little experimental show. Now we're the longest running show in the history of HBO. And it's the motivations are always, what do we think is funny? What does Larry think is funny? When we first started the show, we thought nobody would like it because we were just doing what we thought was funny.
Right.
And then, lo and behold, comedy fans were like, yeah,
Well, in the sitcom world, they talk. It's kind of funny because it started off with Archie Bunker, and he was the least likable guy, and the show was funny, and everyone loved it. At a certain point, at least at the network, the big three level, it turned into likability.
Likability is a word that you and I have heard our whole career with television. And if you look at Faulty Towers, All in the Family, Curb Your Enthusiasm, I'm sure I'm missing one or two. The most unlikable, if the Larry go, well, what's so unlikable about me?
Right.
But he knows he's a misanthrope. It's not the real Larry David, but the character. And that's, So what were you saying?
Well, what I was saying is what happened with sitcoms is many what I would refer to as friends of my mom growing up. Like a lot of middle-aged women moved into these positions of power, and they started focusing more on likability and less, Carol O'Connor just wouldn't have flown with them. They're like, I don't like that guy.
Right.
And it was funny. I once had somebody say to me once, And then the whole zeitgeist just became, you got to be likable. You got to be likable. And so when a guy like Larry David came to the scene to do a sitcom, I'm sure right in the middle of everyone's got to be likable. They went, well, this guy's not likable. How's this going to work? Yeah, he's funny. That trumps everything. But I remember once I was talking to some executive from like NBC or ABC or whatever it was, and I said, look, All in the Family's the best. Carol O'Connor, not likable. And I love that guy, and it made me laugh every time. And she was like, yeah, but you knew from watching that show that if something ever happened to Meathead, Carol O'Connor, Archie, be the first guy to the hospital right by his bed. And I went, I never thought that for a fucking second. No, I did not.
Why would you even think
you're
that?
rewriting, because what you're doing is I'm giving you a historical fact.
Truthfully, Archie might feel some remorse, but he'd feel bad for his daughter.
Right. He hated Meathead.
Yeah, it would be about his daughter, but it also would be, oh, great, she'll get somebody else.
Right. And what you're doing here is you're doing a revisionist history to make yourself correct in current times of the likability. Right. And no, Archie was not likable, and no, I did not know that when I was watching. Neither did anyone watching.
Think of that. Why? Who does background on characters while they're watching a show?
Dick York from I Dream of Jeannie would have had lunch with Endora. They just never filmed it.
I'm sorry, Bewitched.
Oh, Bewitched. Sorry, you're right.
Yeah. You're right. By the way, same show. Slightly different premise.
Same show.
But by the way, I love both shows. And I loved Bewitched, and I loved Jeannie.
I loved both shows, and there was I say the most unrealistic part about Bewitched was when Darren would come home on a Sunday from a golf game or on a Friday afternoon from work, and he'd walk in and he'd say, hi, hon, and they'd kiss, and he'd go right to the little wheeled bar.
Wait. You're saying weekend. Every single episode.
Every episode. He'd walk in, he'd go right to the little bar, and he'd pull the lid off the ice container, and it was brimming with fresh ice. Forget about her making her
Magical
nose
powers.
in Dr. Bombay. That was the phoniest part of the whole thing. There's no way that would ever happen in my house. Ever. I would just come home from work and there's a fresh pot of ice.
But remember, she may have put a spell on that container.
She could have put a hex on the ice bucket.
Always fresh.
You're right. She could.
You didn't think that.
You're
did
right.
you?
I did not think that.
Yeah, she could have dinky with her nose, and then before you know,
You're right. And
or maybe that was Tabitha's job.
The
Tabitha,
daughter.
you got one thing to do.
Yeah,
fill
make
up
sure
the ice for
Daddy
your
Scott
dad.
can have a highball when he comes home from
Larry
work.
Tate would walk in. He'd have a drink.
Larry Tate.
Everyone came in and had a drink.
Right. There's a lot of make mine a double jokes.
Yeah,
because,
a lot of make mine a double jokes.
It was that was the booze version of souffle humor.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you just slam the door. The souffle. There was a souffle and make mine a double, and then. Speaking of booze,
wait a second. What show did they have a souffle?
There was an episode. There was an episode of the Brady Bunch where like Alice was making a souffle, and what would happen is
what? Of the Brady Bunch. That's what you're going to.
There's many an episode in 70s sitcom lore where they're making a souffle.
I believe you. Yes, it's very familiar.
And the souffle would fall.
Yes.
And so Act 1, Marcia would come down and go, I got new wooden clogs. And Allison would go, no, the souffle. And they'd have to turn the light on.
Yeah.
There's often tied to the boss coming over for dinner. You know what I mean? Like everything has to be right.
Yeah, we got to make the souffle. We can't have the souffle
the boss
fall.
come over, yeah.
Mr. Schwartz is coming.
There's a booze. There's another sitcom trope, which is, in Bewitched, there was two. There was Make Mine a Double. There was always ice in the ice bucket when Darren came home. And there was this joke that was now spreading far and wide in sitcom worlds as well. When Bewitched would have to blink herself, go like, oh my God, Mr. Tate's going to be downtown and I got to meet with the client, and she'd like blink herself downtown. She'd land in an alley and there'd be the hobo who'd be leaning against the dumpster, and he would see her appear out of thin air. He'd look at her, then he'd look at his bottle, then he'd dump it out and shake his head.
Quit drinking.
Gotta quit drinking.
Quit drinking.
Gotta
was
quit.
one that I haven't thought of. That's I remember. By the way, you're talking about not only Bewitched, but dozens of times that has happened through sitcom history.
Right.
Oh my God.
Look at the bottle.
Look at the bottle.
Look at the person. Shake the head and dump it out. My feeling is I would double down on the booze if I saw Elizabeth Montgomery pop up
That's
in front of me.
another way to do it.
I would go
to
another
look
direction.
at the bottle and just make your decision and then go with the booze.
I have a very
dig deeper.
Hope
that an alien lands moments later.
All right, let me hit Castrol Edge and we'll keep this going. Castrol Edge, you can tweet us a challenge at Adam Carolla Show with hashtag Castrol Challenge with your question for Castrol Edge, formulated with fluid titanium technology, reduces friction, maximizes engine performance. It's 3 times, fool.
Oh, hell yeah.
3 times stronger against viscosity
What's
breakdown.
podcast one?
I'll
Is
tell
that
you
your
in a
company?
second. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Max Pata. Do you have a question?
I do. At Maxima Harry on Twitter used the hashtag Castrol Challenge and asks, as one of those pussies you describe who knows nothing about working on cars, what are some things I should learn or how to do or fix on my own vehicle?
I think you should learn to drive a stick shift, a manual, like number 1. That's a good thing to know. Number 2, cars are just like laptop computers now. Like there is no, I'm going to get in and fix this thing up myself. There's like everything is sealed and electronic.
You know
and
what's the analog part of the car that still affects everyone? Christy had to do it just the other day. Fill your tires.
Fill your tires.
That's something not everyone knows how to do.
Yeah, you should definitely fill
I know
your
how
tires.
to do that. Who
Not
doesn't know
everyone
how to fill the
does.
tires?
Not
Guess
everyone
what?
does.
I didn't know until recently.
Wow.
And I'm 57 years old.
God love you.
No, I just did it wrong, and I'd mess around, and I have to ask somebody. And they get mad at a gas station when you're filling up your Tesla tires.
That's funny. All right, so thank you, Castrol and Castrol Edge. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back with Jeff Garlin. More Jeff Garlin right after this.
I am immensely successful. No, I am. And, no, it is true. Immensely successful. But yet, you'd think it'd be good enough being me. Every single day, numerous people come up to me and they say, what's Larry David really like?
Jeff Garlin on the Adam Carolla Show.
Stand-up specials on Netflix is very funny. Our Man in Chicago.
You know,
it's right up there in the front.
I asked Larry David this year for the first time, does anyone ever come up to you and ask me what's Jeff Garlin really like? He said, no one ever does.
I'm trying to now. I'm thinking more about 70s sitcoms. I'll tell you what I liked. The thing I liked the most about 70s sitcoms wasn't necessarily specific jokes. I liked how generally concerned the wives were about the husband not getting his lunch or not impressing the boss when the boss comes by to meet or to have dinner. Like they had a lot of anxiety. Like, first off, Elizabeth Montgomery was a fucking fox. She was a hot blonde, man. I mean, she was a good-looking lady who had magical powers, but she was super worried about Darren. Like, I got to make Darren's lunch. He's coming home from his golf game. He's going to go to the ice bucket.
Darren wanted her to make it like a real, not a non-witch.
Yeah, right.
Which is so stupid.
Speaking of
my God.
domestic anxiety, there's a lot of concern over if someone found out your secret recipe for something.
Right.
Like your recipe for your whatever.
Yes. And a lot of anxiety over the mother-in-laws who were coming to the
With the white
house.
glove.
Get the white glove out, drag it along the casing above the door.
Disapproving mother-in-law.
By the way, is there a world where that could exist anymore?
Well, I think mother-in-laws still check how clean a house is.
They do?
Yeah, of course they do.
But how much do the kids care at this point?
Yeah.
That's the point. Look at her with the point.
Yeah, you know, my wife would go if my mom. Picture my mom coming over and checking the house.
Pandora.
If my mom came over and checked the house and there was too much dust on the jamb in front of over the front door, and she said something to my wife would just fire the maids. She wouldn't go into a shame spiral. All right, Max Pata.
Hey.
Find me any clip of Darren walking in Bewitched and going to a full ice bucket.
I did find a souffle clip if you want to
Oh,
that real quick.
please, I beg of you.
And
Now-
Adam, do you want to be more specific on the Darren, or does it not
Either
matter?
Darren's fine. Now, but
Any Darren will do.
Jeff brings up a very good point, which is she could have put a permanent hex on the bucket
Yeah.
to constantly be full.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing I would do if I was a warlock and I was living with a hardworking
By
chick.
the way, Warlock only came up on Bewitched.
Right.
It wasn't in the lexicon.
No.
You didn't have kids talking about being a warlock. That's a male witch.
If I was a warlock and I worked with a hardworking, honest woman, and she was like, I don't want you using your magical powers to accommodate me or this household, I'd go, I hear you. And I would still put a hex on the shit I didn't want to do. Like,
of course you would.
Like, you know, the shit, like you got to empty the bag
hold on a second here.
in the
You're Adam
vacuum.
Carolla the Warlock. What else would anyone expect of you?
Yeah, you're right.
The woman wouldn't know you.
Be weird
if you
not to
didn't do if you didn't do your warlock things, you wouldn't be Adam Carolla the Warlock. You're not going to take shit from anyone. You're going to live life the way you want as a warlock. As
You
a
know-
matter of fact, can I say something
Yes.
right now? I am committed. If you want to write a script, I will push to get it made. Adam Carolla the Warlock, a sitcom. I promise you that I will fight to get that made. And at worst, we'll shoot it with our iPhones.
Well, first off, I'm not likable, so there's going to be an issue at the network
Not
level.
with me.
Secondly,
And there are no more networks, my friend. Those places, you don't go there for comedy. You think I go to a network for comedy? No, there's about 10 other outlets that have appeared where you go with comedy, where you can do Adam Carolla, the Warlock.
I look back at pictures of myself as a young warlock. I thought I was unattractive. It turned out I looked pretty
yourself,
good.
man.
Black cape.
By the way, that's an opening
Eyeliner.
monologue to your wife,
Blonde.
who then asks you not to use your powers, and the minute she leaves your room, you tug on your ear.
That's right. That's
is
my
not a
warlock
nose.
move.
Yeah.
I do like Carol Burnett.
That's right.
All right. Do we have a souffle clip from the Brady Bunch?
What's it from? Oh, it is the Brady Bunch. It looks like it.
Yep.
We didn't know he was gay back then, did we?
Look at him right now. He's giving hints.
Everyone was so damn happy and involved.
Tap dancing.
The souffle's going to drop. Hey, what?
Concerned dad.
That's why I've been coming home late these past few days. I wanted to surprise you. The kitchen floor is, too. Look what I learned today.
Don't tap in front of the souffle.
Oh,
she knocked the souffle down.
that's why everybody hates you, Jan.
But see, you know what? I love Jan's
Jan.
face, the take.
Yeah.
That was good. I have a great Jan Brady story.
I'm all ears
It's
because
not
I got a
even great.
Jan Brady story, too.
Okay. What's the young lady's who? Well, she's
Eve Plum.
Eve
Yeah.
Plum. So Eve Plum came to see me perform. I did a one-man show here in L.A. And she came backstage and she was like overwhelmed with how much she loved. She was kind of weepy. And I was like, wow, thank you. So touched. She gave me her number, not to date. I was married, all that stuff. So when I put up my second one-man show, maybe a year and a half later, I called her to tell her. She didn't remember who I was. That's why I said that she cried. She didn't remember. She was like, who are you? Why are you? How'd you get my number? I go, you gave it to me. No, I didn't.
I was with her at the Groundlings, and I think I asked her out on a date, and she's like, yeah, that's a bad idea.
That's a hard pass.
That's a hard pass.
By the way, let's look at it this way. It's a bad idea for you.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Ooh.
That's right.
Protecting you.
That's my
Saving
warlock.
you.
You
Because if
missed
look-
out on a warlock,
You missed
bitch.
out on a warlock, and not a. By the way, that could be like the premise of the show. You go up to women, you want to date different women, and they turn you down, and then they find out you're a warlock, and they change their attitude.
Right.
Too late.
Yeah.
And every episode you make a souffle. This
Yep.
is just something I'm putting together.
And I fall in love with the one chick who doesn't know I'm a warlock
Yeah, of
and
course, yeah.
legitimately
Yeah,
likes
she
me.
likes you for
Right.
you.
For me.
Sheena Easton.
Yes.
Wow.
Max
Is she
Bada,
available?
that was Act 1, but that later in that same episode, there's got to be souffles
It
falling
falls.
and doors slamming.
Yes.
Okay.
That's
They're arguing
Everyone be
too loud.
quiet.
Yeah.
The
That is
souffle.
technically souffle humor, but not
No,
technically
but by
the
way,
rise humor.
But actually, that's the setup for when the souffle drops. See, he's going to keep trying to make the souffle,
Right.
and then it'll drop. It's like the last one. Sherwood Schwartz knew his stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, him and
He's a genius.
Gordetsky could punch up a script like nobody's business.
People have nostalgia for this terrible show.
It's horrible. It's
People are like
horrible.
nostalgic
By the
for
way,
it.
I could sit and watch, if I'm like tired, I could sit and watch the Brady Bunch all day.
Really?
Yeah, I'm
All
with
day.
Jeff.
And Bewitched.
And have.
Jeannie.
Yeah,
And have.
absolutely.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah.
I got to tell you, I need to up my game a little because I find myself Bewitched, and well, Bewitched is fine, but Brady Bunch is legitimately bad. TJ Hooker's ironically bad, and it's much easier to watch those Knight Rider shows
Yeah.
and TJ Hookers and
But you can't
Love
sign
Boats
off
and stuff.
You can't sign off on liking the Brady Bunch in spite of itself.
But why?
I mean,
There's-
I know you have other mixed feelings with seeing an intact family.
we live in a world
loving
of
each
Curb
other.
Your Enthusiasm. There's
No,
good things.
I'm not saying right now, but in high school and
No,
stuff,
he's-
when the reruns run, you didn't watch them
As
every
a
day.
sociological
Gilligan's
experiment,
Island
it's
is
fine.
terrible. Same creator, Sherwood Schwartz.
Right.
Gilligan's Island is terrible. I could watch that all day. I
Yeah.
could watch that all day. And it's just, there's something very comforting about it. And then I watched good shows like Mary Tyler Moore, Dick Van Dyke.
Right.
I love, ironically, she's on both. I didn't even
That's
plan on that.
Oh, Brian,
Yeah, buddy.
something for you to work on.
Let's hear it.
To give some thought to. Tube Tune. Tool tunes on the TV.
Oh, like the theme
Bad
songs?
show. No.
No?
Just shows that are guilty play that aren't good
Oh.
shows.
Tool tubes.
But you like watching them anyway.
Tool boob tubes.
Because there's a
But
lot.
by the way, that
there's
would
a lot
be
of those.
most of the history of television.
Yes, it would be most.
It's not a difficult assignment. That's just a long assignment.
But you have to. The rules is you have to really enjoy the show, but be embarrassed if somebody
admit it,
walks
yeah.
into the room and sees you
that's
watching.
not
it.
a long list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not a long list because if someone walks in, I'm watching Gilligan's Island, I hold my arm up and I go, "Ah, look, Gilligan's Island." I invite him in.
Right. I have thoughts. I have depressing thoughts every once in a while when I'm watching, like I'm 40 minutes into an episode of TJ Hooker, and I'm like, my kids are in the next room, and I haven't said hi to them yet today. I want to get through this TJ Hooker episode, one I saw in 1987 already. But it's weird. You know, for me, I grew up in Los Angeles.
Hold on.
So,
I apologize for interrupting,
Yes.
but I'm looking at you right now, and I'm thinking, you look like Adrian's Med.
oh,
Wow, that's compliment
thank
city.
you. Thank you.
Oh my goodness.
There's no retarded Adrian Zemed.
No.
Nope.
Not
You look
till
like
Jimmy finds
Adrian.
out.
You look like Adrian Zemed. As a matter of fact, he was handsome. You're better
yeah.
looking.
Oh,
my God.
wow.
Look at you.
Wow. At the height of my powers.
There you are.
Warlock
And you're
Adrian
Warlock
Zemed.
Adrian Zemed.
He's
There
like
you are.
Grease 2 Adrian Zemed.
Yeah. So I'm sorry for interrupting, but you can see why.
Adrian Zemed, if you find a picture of him, Maxipat, had the best posture in the business. His shoulders were always pulled back, and he was like he had left a coat hanger in his shirt. You know,
was
it's like-
smugly preening.
He'd have those. He'd tightly tucked in,
Oh, yeah.
tailored
By the way,
top
if you ever want to
outfit.
see Adrian's Med today, watch when the Cubs play the Dodgers. A lot of times you can see him behind home plate sitting there.
Oh, really?
Because I'll be at home and
Wow.
go, oh my God, that's Adrian's Med. I swear he's from Chicago. I know him. We're not friends or anything, but he's behind the plate. I see him. I go, Adrian's Med.
The rest of America
Yeah.
is going, it's Pete Sampras, his brother with Down syndrome. Oh, he's awesome in that. You know what's great about so
I love
grew up
TJ Hooker.
I grew up in L.A., so for me, I see them driving by Topper's Market or Henry's Tacos or
Right.
something. Like they're in their car and they're driving by.
The Valley was everything.
That was everything. So I'm watching them drive by places I used to walk by, on the way to junior high and having some weird, like, oh, my friend Frank lived in that house up on
Right.
Ben Street or Kling Street or something.
Right.
So I'm sort of
So
watching
you
this
grew
weird
up with
way.
Henry's Tacos?
Yeah.
Oh, you lucky bastard.
Well, here's the bad news.
What?
I didn't have any money, but
They weren't expensive.
Didn't matter.
That's really no money.
They took
Wow.
some money.
They took some money. Wow.
And the reason I bring that up as it pertains to Henry's Tacos is here would be my no money move when I was 13. Ride my bike to Henry's Tacos. You could go to Henry's Tacos and ask them for broken taco shells. They would have broken deep fried taco shells. I don't know, one out of every 14 would just bust in half, and they'd like put it in the rack. And you could tell the guy, "Give me the broken taco shells," and he'd go, "Okay," and he'd go, "Give me a thing of hot sauce." Came in a little.
Right, the little container of hot sauce, yeah.
And I'll go, "I'll have a tap water as well."
My
They
good
give me a
man.
tap water, cup of tap water. Used to be, like, by law, if you asked for water, they'd have to give you water. Like gas stations used to have air, Now you have to pay for it, or they don't have it. Or, like, you used to be able to use the bathroom
Right.
places, And the guy'd give me a cup of water, couple broken taco shells, and the hot sauce, and I would sit down and just dunk the thing and make my own poor man nachos.
I wish you were a warlock.
Oh, man.
You tell me that story, and I look at you and I go, why couldn't he just tug on his ear and have all the Henry's Tacos he wanted? Why couldn't he just tug on his ear and own Henry's Tacos?
You're right.
Could have been Adam's
Why couldn't it be
Tacos.
Adam's
Henry?
Tacos. That's right. Well, if I was a warlock back then, both my parents would have been wished into the cornfield immediately. Like, hey, bitch, see you in the cornfield. Pow, you're gone. Dad, you're this close to going into the cornfield.
Wow.
Yeah. That's
Now,
poor, right?
That's a horrible story, but it's kind of sweet, but it's horrible. Oh my God,
more
man!
spicy than sweet.
I already had immense respect for you, but it's off the charts
Now, because of my poverty.
No, because what you've risen above. Look at that. That's amazing.
Well,
You can have as many Henry's Tacos now as you want. You can actually buy Henry's Tacos. You actually could. You could. And they moved down the block, which
They
is
did.
sad too.
Yeah, and they kind of pioneered the soft taco, I feel like.
I feel like so,
they
too.
did
Gave
not-
away so many broken taco shells.
I know. We gotta-
Well, that's true. That would be the reason why. You're the reason why they invented the soft taco, because they were sick of giving away. They made too many hard tacos.
Next time I'm in a room and guys are talking sports and there's some Steeler fans and they're like, Mel Blount, they made a rule because Mel Blount was too physical on the line of scrimmage and he'd take out all the receivers. I'd go, that's sweet.
That's nice.
Ever had a soft taco? Of course. Delightful. Am I right?
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay, let me tell you a story.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. That is true.
That's right.
That's so great. It would be amazing if Henry's Tacos. But by the way, all those old cop shows, they go up and down Ventura Boulevard.
Yes, they would.
They go down. They even go down like Magnolia, like all through the valley. Columbo. Columbo. So many episodes of Columbo, you see the whole valley.
And all I do is sit home and I sip scotch. And as they're going down Ventura Boulevard, and they're crossing Coldwater Canyon, and then they go to the police dispatcher, and then they come back to TJ Hooker, and I yell, "You're at Havenhurst? Bullshit!
Yeah, right.
Come on! You traveled 9 blocks in 30. I don't think so.
No way.
I don't think so." And then I go into my kid's room, and I go, "Guess what I just saw?
Get
This
a load
is
of this."
insane.
Well,
I
by the
can't
way-
believe anything now."
By the way, I was watching the movie Shampoo last night, and Warren Beatty's on a motorcycle, and you see him going down Sunset, and then you see him going up Sunset Plaza, and then you see him on Beverly Glen.
Right.
Like it was, and I went, "That house is on Beverly Glen. You're not in Sunset Plaza. What's going on?"
I watched the sequel, Conditioner.
Cream rinse.
Max Patton, where's the souffle humor? Jesus Christ, boy. Oh, there's Alice. We do have
There we
souffle
go.
humor.
And this is at the end of the episode, too.
Alice is in there. She's getting excited about
This
pulling
is a different episode.
different souffle. I told you it was
Yeah.
ubiquitous.
Souffle.
Pulling the souffle out.
Oh,
Like big puffy.
Oh, it
fell.
It fell. Did someone slam the door or something?
Yeah,
Well, this is the only clip I was able to find, but I guess in the episode she tries to flatten it out with and starts smashing it when there's other noises happening, so she can hide it from everybody else.
I
it's
like
a secret
the shame.
souffle.
Oh, so she sort of dove into it.
Yeah,
The failure of the souffle.
she went head first into the souffle. There's a lot of souffle humor. I'm trying to think of the other tropes. There's a lot of booze. All right, now you got to find me Darren walking into it. All right, yes.
While you're thinking of that, tangentially related to my earlier quandary, help me figure this out. Who are the people? Why do people want to see the outside of the Brady Bunch house?
You need an establishing
You
shot.
mean in real
No,
life?
they want to like visit. Like
Oh.
yeah, the people are like, I want to see. No, in the show they had to have, it, but like,
okay,
I grew
let's
up in
take a step away from that. Okay.
Please.
I was just in New York and doing press, and my assistant came with me, and what she wanted to do was see the Led Zeppelin building from Physical Graffiti.
Okay.
And she took a picture of it, and it was really cool.
That
But
seems almost different.
But that's
Why is
the
that
building.
different?
Because that's the building. Like, I grew up in the Bay Area, right? Now, every time someone came to visit from out of town, hey, let's go see the Full House house. It's not the house. It's just an exterior. It's just
Yeah.
like any other house. There's
hold
5 million
hold
of them.
Hold on, though. It is the exterior of the house they used.
By the way,
No,
can I?
They shot on a set in
Boy,
Los
your
Angeles.
Can I
your
say
color
this?
is changing.
You know, I
very
have a book I'm working on, which is conversations black people think white people have. I'm going to enter this into that because
By
I
the
feel
way-
like black people feel like this is what we do all day.
what we fight about.
And it may be true. I don't feel like there's ever been 3 black people having this conversation.
No, probably not.
Full House
and,
again.
What's Full House?
and there are people who like to express themselves, but if they are, they're not nearly as fired up about it as we are.
No, we're not.
No, but you were really
I
fired
get
up
upset
about
about
it.
these things.
But if we're talking about the exterior of the Brady Bunch, and by the way, the Full House house, I understand your frustration because who the hell wants to go see the outside of the Full House house? But
Right.
the Brady
Precisely.
Bunch house, you're wrong.
They're totally different.
The Golden Girls house is in the valley.
It is?
Yes. I mean, I don't know.
The Happy Days house is over on Cahuenga.
These aren't the houses.
No, they are the actual houses.
No,
they
not
just didn't shoot. But what you saw on TV in that thing is the actual house. The interior is not.
Brian
now, if they
wants-
said, "Can I go inside and look around where they shot the Brady Bunch?" You're completely right.
You'll be very
They did
upset.
not shoot the inside there. They'll go, "This looks nothing like it."
Well, Brian wants a little more sort of Sharon Tate house, like
Yeah.
whatever was on the outside, the
This
action was
happens.
on the inside. This happened there.
Right.
All right. Sorry for taking a turn for the morbid.
More taste.
there. I'm trying to think of other.
Were you at?
weird
Were you
landmarks.
at? Because Jimmy was there, and I'm not equating every time Jimmy's somewhere. Were you at Bob Saget's 60th birthday party?
No, I wasn't.
It was in the house of the guy who created Full House. Lives in a house that he built on the site where the Manson murders took place. Like
really?
Up
Yeah.
Benedict Canyon there.
No,
So
but I like that.
And
On Cielo Drive
I'd
or
walked
whatever.
around to people and go, "Oh, Sharon Tate was murdered right here."
Right.
And they go, "What?" And I go, because it was fun to go around. I even did that with Jimmy. I didn't know that.
Oh, you didn't know it was that? Yeah, I don't think I've ever. Is it at a cul-de-sac?
It's
Is
on
it
Cielo
sort of
Drive.
like
It's like, yeah, it is kind of a cul-de-sac. Yeah.
And so you have to go. You just drive up.
It's
the
a
little
private
hill.
driveway.
Yeah,
or
it's a
something.
private
Yeah.
driveway. Yeah.
All right.
Dunder
yes.
Mifflin's in Culver City from The Office.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
yeah.
Jesus.
There's
All
lots of them.
What don't I know? Castrol Edge. Stronger under pressure. Engine can lose up to 10% of performance due to friction. That's why there is Castrol Edge. It's 3 times.
You idiot.
3 times stronger, fool, against a viscosity breakdown than leading full synthetics. It's the best. It is formulated in ways to exceed the toughest industry standards. It is Castrol Edge, everybody. All right, quick break. We'll come back with the news and Jeff Garlin right after this.
News with Grad, news with Gina Grad, breaking viral, all those crazy Trump tweets. Give me news with Gina Grad, trouble in the Middle East, celebrity drunk meltdowns. Need news with Gina Grad.
The news with Gina Grad.
Well, former Empire star Jussie Smollett is suing the city of Chicago for what he argues was the police department's effort to push a false claim that he masterminded a fake attack on himself last January. Smollett, who
Let this one go,
still insists he was attacked by, if only we knew someone related to the case, still insists he was
Impartial.
attacked by a white male, claims brothers Abel and Ola Usandairo are spinning a tale that he put them up to staging the attack and doesn't know if they had any involvement at all. Smollett's lawsuit lists the city, the brothers, and the police superintendent as defendants. Meanwhile, the city of Chicago is still suing Smollett to recoup the cost of their investigation.
Oh, man. Where does I don't know where the guy goes from there. Is he? Look, here's the thing about actors, or the way at least I feel about actors. It's sort of it's the same way I feel about let's see, Matt Lauer. Like, hey, if we don't really need you, keep it together. You know what I mean? Like
don't jeopardize.
Well, we need Larry David and we need Jeff Garlin. Like, we need Larry David doesn't get wished into the cornfield with my parents because he creates things that we want. If you're just an actor or you just read the teleprompter, Billy Bush, evidently we don't need you. Like, you can just go away and never come back, and that works that way. I mean, there are about 3 or 4 actors we can't do that with, but most actors are on Fox
here's what I
shows
was
we
just
can do it.
picturing when you were going through that. So let's say Jussie Smollett comes in for Curb. Okay,
Right.
He comes in to audition for Curb, and I know Larry. Larry's like oblivious to stuff.
Sure.
And then he does an okay job. He leaves, and I turn to Larry David and go, "That's the guy who made up the thing in Chicago about being attacked." And they go, "Oh, really?" And then boom, he never works again. Every time that guy goes into a room, when he leaves the room or before he gets in the room, someone's talking about it. It's over. So I think he's just grabbing at straws here because he's being sued.
Now, there's only work, there is work for British reality shows like
Yes.
Has Been Island or something, you know what I mean? Where I've been contacted a few times.
Hold on a second here. Again, a great idea. Following Adam Carolla Warlock, Has Been Island. And all it is every episode, 2 has-beens have to wrestle.
That's right.
Oh, that's good.
But like really
Gladiator
wrestle.
style.
And if you don't win your wrestling match, you get put on a bad part of the island where it rains and stuff.
Right.
You don't get off the island.
The windward side.
Yeah.
And most of the population, and we also have a separate population of the island, which is like an island chain, and these are just former Menudo members, like folks in their 50s that were in the boy band
Sure.
Menudo in the 70s.
And all they have to eat is corn. I just
That's right.
decided that.
You do recall I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here?
Yes, I
They
do.
did. They have done Has Been Island.
Because you're right, Jussie Smollett. It's basically, it's essentially like the girl in college who did a bootleg porn or something, and it got all over the internet. And it's like every time that girl walks into a party or
Job
classroom
interview.
or job, like it's always going to be, it's that person.
That's exactly right.
And how
And
could
by
it
the
not
way,
be?
how long till he does porn?
Ooh, It's a good point.
Gay porn, though, right?
And
SeanCody.com.
even if he's awesome in the audition, someone will go, "It's too big a distraction."
Yeah.
Right? Like it's going to take away from the
no,
authenticity.
even if he's awesome, he's not getting the job.
Right.
Done.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, speaking of porn, maybe he wants to get in on this. This Thanksgiving porn site Cam Soda wants families to let online voyeurs watch them eat. The adult entertainment website is offering to pay up to $250 to anyone willing to live stream their dinner. The competition, called Cam Soda Voyeur Thanksgiving, has no rules. You just have to be over 18. Cam Soda writes in a press release, and this is so sad. Those who are lonely this holiday can now live stream dinner time and enjoy the company of others from afar with the click of a button. The most popular dinner broadcasters will receive an additional prize. Remember, this is your holiday family Thanksgiving. The prize is free tokens to use the porn site, Camp Soda.
Oh, fun.
I don't know. I got into an argument with Dave Damashek about whether ham could or should be present during a Thanksgiving dinner.
Supplementally.
He was vehemently against it.
Wait, in place of
Yeah,
turkey or
not-
alongside?
No, just to be there with.
Yeah, that's nothing wrong
To
with
share
that.
the table.
Totally fine.
I told him we couldn't figure out whether it was acceptable or not. So I told him pull up a Norman Rockwell painting of Thanksgiving and we could find out what's on the table. Like
American
what
dinner table.
I
traditionally
feel
is
like
on.
ham is part of the meal.
Yeah, sadly, Norman did not draw in
Oh.
the ham.
Maybe
But he
it's
did
Jewish.
have a covered chafing dish, and I made a very strong case as to why there's ham
Yep,
in that
that's
dish.
right.
Even
Gotta
though you
keep the
couldn't
ham
tell.
warm.
That's right.
That's so Goyish, a ham with the little cloves and the pineapples on it.
Yes.
I didn't grow up that way.
Yes.
Are you Jewish?
Yeah.
Oh, look at you.
Now look at me.
you. Yeah.
Did you grow up with a ham covered with pineapples? I
No, I
certainly
did
didn't.
not.
Yeah.
No.
We had
But,
ham
but,
with that.
nonetheless, I was never anti-ham.
Yeah.
I got to
Never
tell you, man,
Thanksgivings.
I don't know why it just popped in my head, and I don't want you to fall off the wagon, Jeff, but a pineapple upside-down cake is fucking fantastic.
little cherries inside.
Because it's more pie than it is cake, and that's the beauty of it. And it gets a little crunchy,
Oh,
and you
jeez.
get some fresh whipped cream on there.
By the way,
Why don't you just ascribe a perfect martini to an alcoholic?
I know.
here's the
Sorry,
thing.
Jeff.
No. Here's the thing. Don't feel bad for me, anyone who's listening. Anyone in this room. I have
Nobody
had more
does.
pineapple upside down cake than any 10 people you know put together.
Really?
Including the upside down family who invented pineapple upside down
Wow,
cake.
you've
Yeah.
done more than the Dole family?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dawson, quick survey around here. Survey of 10 employees. How many pineapple upside down cakes consumed over under?
In lifetime?
Yeah.
Full cake?
Four. Seems a little light.
We're talking about pieces of cake, right?
I don't know.
That's what I was just
unknowable.
thinking.
Look,
Hey, Max Bada, find some pineapple upside down cake humor from the 70s shows, would you please? All right. I still want a souffle with the door slamming.
What was
Yes.
the cake that everyone kept passing around? The fruit cake. You know what I mean?
I've never had that.
That was
That, by
That
the
was
way, I
another
have
trope.
never eaten, as somebody's addicted to sugar, I've never even tasted fruit cake just based on its reputation.
pretty
Yeah,
bad.
it doesn't have like gummies
Yeah.
and nuts. I've seen it. Is that like
It's-
the
it's a-
Italian?
it's a novelty.
The panettone.
Well,
or-
it's the kind of thing that can survive a long period of time without going bad.
Yeah.
Because you're shipping it.
Right.
There's a whole process.
There's
Doesn't look good.
It's in cans. It's a can. Fruit cake comes in cans. So there you go.
yeah, there is a kind of
Not a tin, a can.
It is your fentanyl to the heroin that is real dessert. You know,
Yeah,
I've
yes.
gone to fruitcake not because I wanted to, just because I needed a fix and I was desperate.
I've
and
eaten Pop-Tarts out of the garbage. But they
Hold on.
still
Your garbage?
my own. I
Okay,
threw them
that
away.
helps.
Don't be a
And
one-upper, like I said before.
And it still had the silver wrapping over it. You know what I mean?
yeah, the foil,
So
yeah.
it was sealed, but it was in the garbage.
That's
I
a
was
George
like,
Costanza
no more.
move.
By the way, guess what? That's where they got it from.
Wow.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that's where they got it from. I'm watching Seinfeld one. I'm like, oh my God. And the episode was written by guys who I work with now on Curb and have.
Oh my God.
Who had seen my one-man show where I talked about that.
This is the real Henry's Tacos right here.
I've had 2 jokes stolen from me my whole career. This, that, talking about that. And also, I'm always one to say Baron von this, Baron von that. You know, that was like, this is a long time ago. And Dan Castellaneta showed me a script that he was about to record of The Simpsons. And Bart says, they say, no, so I would say Baron von Costume. A very common one. And Bart said, Bart, how are you going to get away with going to the other side of town? He goes, you just leave that to me and the Baron. And it said Baron von Costume.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and and I talked to both writers. I wasn't mad. By the way, if you're going to get stolen from, Seinfeld and The Simpsons is pretty good. And I wasn't mad. And they said, can we still do it? And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
It's the ultimate tip of a camp.
Yeah, I got no problem. And you always if you're funny, you come up with new stuff.
Yeah,
it's not like I was relying on Pop-Tarts in the garbage or Baron von Costume.
There goes the career.
Yeah.
All right, Gina, what else?
Well, Oprah Winfrey is calling on her pals Lady Gaga and Jennifer Lopez to boost her upcoming wellness tour. Oprah's 2020 Vision, Your Life in Focus, will feature one-on-one interviews with Gaga, J-Lo, Michelle Obama, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. But also there'll be all-day events. There'll be seminars. There'll be dance sessions with your very own Julianne Hough. Interactive demonstrations. That's going to kick off in Orlando in January.
There's a weird thing. And I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. I mean, I just did it with Jeff Garlin, but it's weird. There's a lot of middle-aged men and women and beyond, like sitting around and having these conversations about life and well-being and sort of wellness, like I've
self-care.
heard like Oprah will sit down with Michelle Obama and they'll just have a long talk about like self-care and self-whatever. And I don't feel like it's a conversation our parents ever had. Like mine's like, hand me another cigarette and get out of the way, you're blocking the TV.
Right.
Like there wasn't any how do we make things better? How do we live a better life? How do we be our best selves? Like,
see, I think the whole thing, look, there's aspects of where people are trying to not die. And I think that's the most ridiculous part because it is whatever it is. And so, but to have a quality of life, anyone can keep learning that stuff. So if it makes you function through the world better, but if drinking a shitty milkshake every day extends your life a week, give me a fucking break.
Right.
I'm not drinking that shitty milkshake. Yeah. Although I do love milkshakes, but not a shitty milkshake.
Agreed. Yeah. And I don't know if the people that are watching are like being inspired by Oprah or they're just kind of wanting to be Oprah.
Yeah.
I think the part is that they're going, I want to be Oprah. And they're here to hear Oprah, but then you go to the ballet, you come home, doesn't mean you can dance. It just means you watched somebody do something pretty well. I watch Olympic sports. I'm no good at archery just because I've watched a guy do it, or you pick gymnasts or whatever it is. I feel like there's an element of they're watching it, and it kind of quells them a little bit. Like, okay, I don't know, I'm feel a little better. And then they go home, but I'm not sure that they do it.
Yeah, that's a good point. And sort of to that point, it reminds me that before TED Talks were really like just explosion popular, everybody knows what a TED Talk is. Right before that, I was kind of like, just really into them because I didn't hear about them a lot. I went to the bookstore and I wanted to know if there was a collection of TED Talk speakers. Guess what? Couldn't find one of those, but found 20 versions of how do you become someone who does a TED Talk.
Right.
So it's that same sort of principle.
And by the way, lots of people have read those books and do the TED Talks, which are no longer interesting.
Right. Well
TED
said.
Talks have gone down the drain. Oh my God.
How many people at Oprah, she got to be the number one ask person where her batting average is through the roof, right? Like if Oprah says, can you join her on stage in Orlando or whatever, everyone says yes, right?
But here's my thing. That goes back to what I'm saying about ego. You have to recognize ego. You have to recognize what's your motivation for doing it. And I would think a lot of the people say yes to her based on ego. Now, if there's a giant check involved, that would be a good motivating factor. But I got to say, I'm not going to Orlando no matter who calls me. I'm
I bet if Oprah
I'm not even
called.
going to do stand-up in Orlando. I played Orlando once, and a group of neo-Nazis were in the audience. I ain't going back to Orlando. I'll go back to Disney World, but hold on. I've got Disneyland. I am not going to Orlando. I'll go to Tokyo Disneyland before I go to Orlando. Orlando can blow me.
All right. I should have picked Portland because I was randomly picking a city.
Portland,
She is kicking off in
Portland,
Orlando.
I like
Sorry.
Powell's books, so I'll always go to Portland.
All
Powell's
right. Well,
books is
when
great.
she makes her way to Portland and she hits up Jeff, I think Jeff
I might
answers
go.
the call.
No, but actually, I like napping. I'm not going to
napping.
Portland for Oprah. By the way, I was on Oprah's show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Tell me about it.
I was on Oprah's show. One of her producers used to hang out at Zany's in Chicago, and they came up with this.
What year, I'm sorry, is this?
This is sometime in the 80s. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's in the 80s.
So you weren't household namey.
No, God, no. And so this producer said, we're doing an April Fool's Day episode. And what the April Fool's Day thing was they had people send in their jokes. It was a joke a minute. That was her premise for the thing. So they wanted some professional comedians. So I did it, and I ended up sitting next to Oprah. I had 2 requests, I swear. I said, okay, I'll do it. I go, you don't have a serious big star or anything. I go, well, then I want the main dressing room, and I want it filled with bagels and donuts.
Wow.
I swear. And they said, what do you mean by filled? I go, a couple tables worth. and I said, and they said, we're going to put you up in the first segment. That's our most watched segment. And I go, done. I'm in.
I saw...
And she was
Jeff-
very nice.
I saw Jeff
And
Garlin.
we made out during the commercial
Oh,
break.
that's sweet.
Yeah.
Jimmy and I saw you at Caroline's in New York. Would have been circa like 1997 or so. Maybe it's a couple years later. I think you were with Jon Stewart.
Yeah,
I don't
because
know if
John,
you were opening. But
I would have been opening for him because when he did Unleavened, I directed it. I co-directed
His stand-up special.
His stand-up special, and so we performed all over the country. I'd open for him, and then I'd go sit in the back and take notes.
Oh,
yeah,
that was so funny. I mean, I think we went in to see John. We didn't know you were opening. I don't know if it was advertised that way or not.
No, it wouldn't have been because it would have no meaning.
But
People go, "Who's
I
Jeff
did
Garlin?"
all those years ago. Going, what year was Unleavened then? Or what year did you?
Sometime
end up
it was sometime in the. Oh, I'll tell you when it was. 94.
Was it that early?
Oh, no,
it
no,
couldn't be that early.
No, 95. It was 95.
Wow, because
95. Because my son was an infant, and I took him with me on some of the stuff. My older son, and he was born. No, my mistake. 97. No, because
we're
he was
better.
born in 96. In my head, I had him 94. He was born in 96, so it would have been 1997.
I told you got to use your kids to mark
Yeah.
the
That's
time.
right.
It's the only way.
That's the only way to do it.
Only way. Yes.
Calendars
So
are
it
no
was,
use.
in fact, 1997.
Must have been Jimmy and I out there because you shot it in 97. This could have been in 96.
It was 96, 97 around
We're
there.
out there for the MTV Music Awards with Kevin and Bean and went to Caroline's on a date to go see John. And there was Jeff Garlin.
Oh, that's funny. Small world.
Yeah.
So Julia Roberts may
Probably having trouble with my stand-up. I didn't know what I was doing.
I remember you did a bit about Snicker bars, I think,
Oh,
for some
fun
reason.
size.
Probably.
Fun size. What's so fun about them? You got to put 4, 5, or 6 in a row.
Yeah,
then it's a
right.
fun size. That might have been my only good joke. And that's the one you remember. The only good one. All right, keep going.
See what this warlock does is he focuses on this comic set being half full,
That's
not
right.
half empty.
Yes.
So Julia Roberts may have almost been cast in the lead role of the Harriet Tubman biopic, according to Entertainment Weekly.
Oh,
This story is
really?
really getting some press today. Harriet Tubman escaped slavery before the Civil War and helped dozens more reach freedom through the Underground Railroad. And a Hollywood studio executive suggested Julia Roberts would be the perfect actress for that role. And when the film screenwriter said that Julia Roberts couldn't play Harriet Tubman, the exec reportedly said, "The Civil War was a long time ago. No one's going to know the difference."
Wow.
Harriet was released earlier this month. It stars English actress Cynthia Erivo, but
Who's Chinese, by the way.
What?
Cynthia Erivo?
Scared me.
Cynthia Erivo was the one that I liked so much in Bad Times at El Royale, the singer.
Oh, right. Yeah, she was great. Smollett was up for Mr. Tubman. You didn't really hear a lot about him.
Harry Tubman.
I believe the
Harry
first
Tubman.
part of that story, and I think the second part of the story is either made up or that executive was joking.
Yeah, because I was going to
It's
say
just a little too much
that
to
story.
believe.
That story is dominating headlines today.
Yeah, because people because they need stories.
Right.
And no, but I do get the guy not knowing who Harriet Tubman is and having not read the script. Even though he says it's a great script, maybe we can get Julia Roberts.
An iconic American's got to be Julia Roberts.
Because, but also, yeah, Julia Roberts was huge, and of course he'd be covered even if it was a crappy script if it's Julia Roberts. But to say the Civil War was a long time ago, that's either a joke or the writer came up with it.
There's probably a part in there that they didn't report where the guy's like, Tubman, yeah, okay. Julia Roberts could play a Jew.
By the way, he may have thought she was Jewish.
Well, could have been. Yeah.
So after serving less than 2 weeks in prison, Felicity Huffman wants to help other women behind bars.
Jesus Christ, her life's been changed.
It gets better. Sources tell Page Six that the actress was so moved by the harsh conditions during her stint at the Federal Correction Institution in Dublin. That's the one that's known as, what do they call it? Not
Can I
Club
say
Fed,
this,
but one
the
of them.
people that take up these causes, are they really philanthropists or they have kind of an open schedule? Because I don't feel like I could start following a pod of whale or something to the Antarctic or something. I could drop everything and, hey, there's a brother in prison and I'm not working until this guy walks the streets again. Like, I'm too busy to jump into things.
But wait a minute, she's in a cushy prison, though.
She was in the Spa Dublin or whatever they
I
called
also
it.
have to imagine that Felicity Huffman has more of an open schedule now. She may have been going on some auditions before, maybe a Hallmark movie here or there.
Not just that, but this might have this smacks of a bit of community service. So she served 11 days.
She's being forced to have a cause.
That's right. And she began her community service last month and is expected to finish in early 2020. But the star reportedly wants to continue to work with the Teen Project and women's incarceration re-entry organizations long after that, she says.
And these gals, there's her and Full House, right?
Lori Loughlin.
Lori Loughlin. They're getting into the Jussie Smollett area, right? Of like casting them and kind of going, this is too big a distraction.
She copped to everything.
Yes.
And it went already smooth. Lori Loughlin's like fighting it. And she's holding out. She's going to like end up in prison for a much longer time.
Now they're saying
not even a cush prison.
She's going the Jussie Smollett route all the way down.
Yeah.
The drain.
The reports, and I mean, we don't report on this every little day because I know it drives you insane, but that she was dying to just go the Felicity Huffman route, and her husband talked her out of it, and she's freaking out. She just wants this to be over, and they say she's looking at maybe 2 to 3 years. As opposed to 11 days.
Yeah, she could never do that. But I just mean, talk about tense in the household.
The kids hate her.
I remember one time I came home early and I slammed the door and Lynette was making a souffle, and that was a tough weekend.
Yeah. You were in the doghouse.
That alone.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine not copping a plea.
Hold on now. Interstitials between the Adam Carolla is a warlock and Has Been Island, interstitials of you entering homes and ruining souffles.
Yeah.
All right? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
great.
And it's always different. I come in and I go, and they go, watch it with the door. And I go, no, prom. I just came back from yodeling class. And they go, no!
I'm programming my own network. You're in.
All right, what else we got, Gina Grad?
Well, I know this sounds like a Mad Lib, but I promise it's a real news story. The legacy of Wu-Tang Clan is expected to live on in ways well beyond just their catalog, and that includes a real-life amusement park. A Wu-Tang themed amusement park is currently being developed in Seoul, South Korea. The news was revealed by Jimmy Kang, the vice president of Wu-Tang Clan management. While other details of the amusement park, most of them are very scarce, an area dedicated to Staten Island is possible. The hip-hop group's hometown.
Just what Seoul, South Korea needs.
Not only named a district after Wu-Tang, but also honored them with their very own day that happens to be November 9th. And this is coming to Seoul, South Korea.
There's the whole Dennis Rodman sort of Korean aspect.
North
here.
Korea.
That's North Korea.
That's North, right. But maybe there's a love of large black men,
Just on the island.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. They're making a Wu-Tang movie.
possible.
or TV show
Yeah,
or
like a
something.
Hulu series. I
They're
think.
doing a
redoing
series.
Barnaby Jones with Wu-Tang Clan.
With Wu-Tang?
Yeah.
Buddy Epson's out.
Yeah.
He's Barnaby Jones.
Now that I've never seen of no recollection.
They used to. They had a weird thing with Private Eyes where they had like old Private Eye, fat Private Eye, Cannon, Ironside, unlikely
like Kojak,
Private Eye,
Kojak,
bald Private Eye. That's like
all disabilities.
Columbo, Lazy Eye.
the
Private
first
Eye.
guy. Yeah, the guy got his ass kicked first. In Kung Fu, is the first guy to call Carradine Chinaman. He was the first guy to get his ass kicked, and the first guy that called Barnaby Jones Pops was the first guy to get his ass kicked. That's a Jay Leno joke, I think.
Is he an older gentleman?
Barnaby Jones was an old guy.
He was definitely well into his 70s. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, he was
Good for
completely
him.
gray. But this is, Buddy Epson, Judd Clampett.
Yeah.
He'd been around for years.
Like B Western star Buddy Epson?
Westerns.
Wasn't he? Didn't he do a bunch of westerns?
No, he did. He did was his Beverly Hillbillies.
Oh, okay.
Everybody did westerns back then, but yeah,
Buddy was the original Tin Man.
And was he? Was he really
In The Wizard of Oz.
75, or were we just 11 and thought everyone with gray hair was 75?
No. Well, if he wasn't 75, he looked 75.
Barnaby
and
Jones.
Well, by the way, I'm not exaggerating. On the set, Larry and I, one day this year, we watched on YouTube. They have the openings to every Barnaby Jones episode with the actors, and they say their names. And we watched it, and I looked at Buddy Epson, and as a 57-year-old man, he looked in his 70s.
Okay, well, maybe.
I'd like to play him someday in a comedy, a comedic Barnaby Jones.
One more part Jussie Smollett's not going to get. Barnaby Jones.
The case of the souffle that shrunk.
I watched the opening to Robert Urick's Vegas the other night just to see the same thing. By the way, just to see the Vegas Strip circa 1978, like
all the
it's
downtown
crazy.
stuff, right?
Yeah, you forget about. God, I'm trying to think of the one that's it's just a big paddle boat, the Orleans
Paris,
or whatever,
yeah.
like a big southern paddle boat, gambling
river
boat,
boat?
river boat, like just sitting right on the strip, like
Treasure Island.
Yeah, there was no winds back then.
What happened?
at
Oh,
all.
look at you with the water. Thank you, my friend.
I'll tell you about. Let me hit Geico, and then we'll do
Hit
another
Geico.
one. Everyone's got the to-do list. How about you save a bunch of money on your auto insurance, and you don't have to go anywhere. Just go to your computer and go to geico.com. 15 minutes, you could be saving 15% or more on your auto insurance. You take that extra money and you put it in your pocket, or go order a souffle with that extra money at geico.com. 15 minutes could be saving 15% or more on your auto insurance.
Adam,
Yes.
a quick question.
Yes.
Next year, January 25th, I have no plans. Where are you going to be?
I'll probably be here. I don't know what
January
day that's. I'll be in
25th.
town.
Chicago.
Oh.
He's setting you up, man.
Oh, sorry, you're setting me up. Jeez, I didn't look. Park West, Chicago. Thank
You're
you.
actually playing Park West on January 25th.
Doing Unprepared, which I just did last night at the SiriusXM studio building. They're now getting into video and streaming and all that kind of stuff. And you would like this, Jeff. We do what you do, but a slightly different version of it. Everyone writes one word on a ping pong ball. They put it in a hopper, a bingo hopper. I have a volunteer come up from the audience. They turn it, and whatever the ball says on it, that's the bit they get. So
you make it up.
Make it up. Yes.
Or whatever it reminds you
Or
of.
whatever it reminds me of.
Wow,
right.
that's really great.
It's kind of fun because
That's really great.
It
That's
makes
really
it
fun.
makes it sort of official. And I do the first half of the show, it's just half hour straight stand up, and then the second 40 minutes we do the hopper, and
Right.
it's fun, and people like their ball or whatever they have fun with it. But
So
Jeff,
would you mind if I took that idea to South Korea?
Go ahead, go to Loser Island with it's fun. Max Zapata was there last night. We had a good time with it.
No,
And
but that's really fun. That's good.
it's
People should
fun.
come to
It's
see
fun
that.
until you run into one single word that is a stumper. And one day we should find those.
By the way, you want me to
Zapata.
give you advice how to do it? All right. Give me a word and a stump. Just give me a word and I'll pretend it's a stumper.
Belgium.
Belgium. Man, I got nothing. I got Belgium. Why would you hand me Belgium? And then you start attacking whoever handed you the ball.
Oh, that's good.
You start attacking people. Anyone here from Belgium? I don't want to hear Belgium. You dive into nothing.
Right.
Dive into nothing. There's nothing for Belgium. I got nothing. I go, you maybe chocolate, but they're not even that known for chocolate.
No.
Wooden shoes. I don't even know what goes on in Belgium. I fucking hate Belgium. Get Belgium out of the... Man.
I know. I got
and
Belgium.
And then you turn
once.
to all the people who work with you and go, if any one of you fuckers ever mentions Belgium around me again, that's over. All right, now give me a new ball.
Yeah.
Boom! You're out!
Yeah, but
And
what
you
if
dealt
you,
with it and you got laughs.
But what if you need to do that 11 times?
Guess what?
What?
It'll only get funnier.
Okay. Well,
It'll
now we're
only get
covered,
funnier.
Max Zapata.
It'll only get funnier 11 times. So give me another one.
I'm trying to think, Max
Give me
Zapata, you
another
remember
word.
some of the ones that were tough?
Last night, you got Mandalorian.
Okay. Mandalorian. Let me tell
That's
you
another
something.
going around
I
him.
know what it is.
He has no idea.
Yeah.
No. So then you say, Mandalorian. Let me tell you something. Somebody did this as a mean practical joke. Put Mandalorian. You know my history with the Mandalorian.
Oh,
Do I need to
right.
get into it?
Yeah.
Do I need to? And then you turn to your people. So help me. If you mention Mandalorian around me, I'm going to Belgium. And you know how much I hate Belgium. I would never go to Belgium, and yet Mandalorian makes me go. Point being is, you can do it with any word.
He's very good.
Last night I got rulers.
Oh, rulers!
Manicure. I know that's your Niagara Falls.
No,
Self-doubt.
by the way, someone writes rulers. They're basically going, fuck you, Adam Carolla.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Well,
yeah, try and come up with this
That's
one.
what they're doing. They're going challenge me.
And then you go, so rulers. You go,
Right.
all right, rulers, really? Do you people know that I spent 11 years in a prison and the only thing I could do for fun was measure things? Do you have any idea what it was like? So then you turn, so help me.
tell my people.
If you people ever bring up a ruler again, I will hit you with my Mandalorian. And you know how much I fucking hate men. See, I'm saying you can
You're
make
right.
a bit out of it.
That's good.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm not as good
Copy
as you.
me.
You play by the rules
no,
too much.
Copy me. I just gave you a format.
All right. I will employ it. Sorry. Go ahead, Gina Grad.
Buddy
Well-
Epson, born in 1908.
Wow.
And the show Barnaby Jones ran from 73 to 80. So he was in his late 60s and early 70s during the show.
Good night, ladies and germs.
Mattel wants to make sure that this holiday game season is politics free, and they're really going for it. Now the traditionally primary colored card game Uno has been recast without red or blue cards, which have traditionally represented the colors of Republican and Democratic parties. Their classic red packaging is now purple, and the two missing cards that were red and blue are now purple and orange. There's also a new veto card, which can be used to skip the next player's turn if they bring up politics
Did
during
they
the game.
intentionally make them red and?
I don't think
that was
it's
just
a primary
coincidence,
color.
right?
Red and blue have been used for years.
Yeah.
When you're a kid, would you ever pick up red or blue and go, oh, Republican, Democrat?
No.
I don't
What
want these
state are you
cards.
from?
I didn't look
You
at
know?
an elephant or a donkey
By the
either
way,
and have any
Adam,
thoughts.
Take a look at your insignia. Right there.
Oh,
What do you
wow.
got?
Oh, it's red and blue.
Yeah.
They can exist together.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you are not playing Uno, are you, sir?
No, I'm
I've never played Uno, so I don't even care.
Imagine they're doing this just to get a little
A little
publicity.
press before the holidays.
Of course.
All right, any souffle clips, Max Zapata? What's
All right.
Found one
All
from
right.
the Partridge Family.
Found one from the
Oh,
Partridge.
perfect.
Good eating. Here we go. I love that it's from the Partridge Family. It goes right with your premise.
Come on. No way. Now leave me alone.
All right, what's going on?
All I wanted her to do is to show me how she flipped Goose, and she got all upset.
Goose was
Doesn't
her
just want to
boyfriend.
know. He's just making fun of me. No, honest, lawyer, I really want to know. I mean, someday when you're not around, I may have to defend myself.
Mom, do you mind if I show him? Why not, if that's what he wants?
You really want to know, huh? Come on.
She's gonna- She threw him in the kitchen on his back.
I like that island.
Really rough. Low and crude.
What happened?
He got flipped. Judo style.
Not only that, but you caved in my homework.
Souffle.
Yeah, well,
it dropped.
Funny. Have I ever caved in your homework? No. Boy, when something is important to you.
So when I was a
Souffle
little
is
boy,
homework.
my first crush, a celebrity crush, not that I've even had more than one, Susan Day. I was madly in
I
love.
thought you were going to say the souffle.
Well, the souffle.
I love
bit-
Susan Day.
Susan Day.
I loved her.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Lori Partridge.
Lori Partridge.
So
Wow.
hot.
So hot. Oh,
And
my
any
God.
of those scenes,
I
she'd
might have
be
been like,
sitting on her bed with her dollies up there. It
I
was
think I was
awesome.
9 years old,
Yeah.
just gazing at her, like waiting for her to come back on screen. Couldn't believe how she existed.
Yeah, she had something about her teeth and her chin were so inviting. I don't.
Oh,
she's a beauty.
come on, that's just a big boulder wrong.
She's so beautiful.
That's a very Ally McGraw picture.
I loved her.
Ally McGraw was beautiful too.
Yeah.
And then Buddy Epson was my next TV crush. Yeah, I loved her. Well, it was easy. All you had to do is pick your favorite Charlie's Angel or Susan Day or Marcia Brady. Like there's a handful of women
Ginger.
available. Ginger,
Marianne, Jeannie, Bewitched.
Oh, yeah.
It was crowded back then.
Ellie Clampett.
Yeah, Ellie Mae.
Ellie Mae.
Yeah.
Right.
That was
So
a good one.
As adult men now, Shirley Jones or Florence Henderson?
Oh, dear God. Why would you do that?
Because
I don't
they're
like to
both
sexualize
good-looking,
them.
blonde women.
I didn't find. First off, Shirley Jones is eliminated because my mother, even though she didn't, she would say this to me. I swear to God, I heard her say it at least a dozen times. People say I look like Shirley Jones. She looked nothing like Shirley Jones, but she would say that all the time. She looked nothing like Shirley Jones. And she had red hair, and Shirley Jones was a blonde. So I'm eliminating that. And then, no, Mrs. Brady, no. Oh, dear God. Well, if you go by that picture, you'd have to say Shirley Jones.
Right.
But nonetheless.
I like Shirley Jones because she was an active mom and housewife. Like she was always doing some space work. Like she would enter with gardening gloves and like I'm out of potting soil, and I kind of trying to picture that at my house.
You like someone who works with their hands.
I like someone who's like moving. She was always like dusting,
That's
cleaning.
you. I like a woman who comes in and goes, I just woke up.
Yeah. Florence Henderson farmed a lot of shit out to Alice.
She did.
Right? But Shirley Jones was hands-on, and she was always like fixing a wicker chair or something.
Can I say
She always
something?
had activities.
Can I say something?
Yes.
This is another show for my new network. You're going to get your own night.
Wow.
Basically, to go from, quote, the man show, okay, to what you're describing is the way women should be described, is the way you're respecting the woman's work.
I am.
Look at you, Adam Carolla. The woman's work. So how does the evening start? Adam Carolla, Warlock.
Yep.
Then we go to Has-Been Island.
Right.
You've got your souffle interstitials, and then an hour of Adam Carolla talking about and meeting real women and saying how much he appreciates them. And then the last 15 minutes in a closed-off room, you make love to them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
This
I don't
is
need
my-
to get Dixon involved with this.
No.
Well, sign me up.
Dixon.
Does Dixon represent you?
Baby doll, yeah.
Does he really?
Yeah,
Oh, God,
but-
I've known him so. No wonder you were at Jon Stewart's thing in New York.
must
'Cause-
have been.
No, because Dixon was his agent.
Except for, I don't think me and Jimmy were hooked up with Dixon at that point.
At that point? Oh, that's funny.
We knew John through K-Rock.
Right.
The way I hooked up with Daniel Kellison is me and Jimmy were at the K-Rock Weenie Roast in Irvine in like 97 or something, or 8. And Daniel came with John, and I saw John, or we knew John from, coming into Kevin and Bean or whatever it was. But it's a small little world.
I love Dixon, by the way. Love him. I've had a long relationship with that dude and never worked with him, but I love Dixon.
He's the best, and he's the best now because he's the last person who smokes in public and has no regard for what other people think about his cigarette or his smoke, and has had situations where, like, he's been in hotel rooms smoking and someone's from the desk is banging on the door going, we've gotten reports of smoke and smelling, and they're trying to make their way in, and they have the universal card, and Dixon is pushing the door yelling, you can't come in, I'm naked with a cigarette hanging out of their mouth, and the person's going, I smell cigarette smoke, it's a $500 cleaning fee, and Dixon screaming, I'm not going to pay it. I was just with him at the History Channel, whatever, Sunset Gower, wherever the buildings are with all the whatever. And he goes out after the meeting, and he's sitting in the area, with the bench and the tree and the whatever. And of course he's smoking, and the security guard is walking toward him, and he doesn't care, and he's showing me pictures of his house in Florida on his phone, and then the security guy's making us, hey, he's like telling him we got to put the cigarette out, and baby's like, yeah, baby, I got you. And he gets up and moves 20 feet over, and then the same security, he's still smoking, the same guard is now walking at us again. And I'm a bundle of nerves, because I'm like, he's going to tell us, the same adult male who told us moments ago to put the cigarette out is now circled back, and he's coming a second time. And Dixon has no interest or no thoughts about it. I have a million thoughts about it because I'm watching him, and Dixon's showing me pictures of his 10,000 square foot home in Jupiter, Florida. Hey, baby, that's the indoor. We got indoor, outdoor. And he's like showing me the whole thing. And I see this, he's like walking in slow motion at me, the guard, because I'm like so, again, I think of myself as Pete Sampras with Down syndrome, not a warlock. If I was a warlock, I'd just take my cane and fire a lightning bolt at him. But he's walking. Dixon doesn't care. I love that person who doesn't care. Now, you may say, sounds like an asshole. Maybe you're right, but he doesn't care.
More of a sociopath.
He had no thoughts about
All right, I'm sorry to interrupt.
anyone walking at him.
Your night, which I think is Thursdays, late night.
Late night.
Adam Carolla / loves assholes.
Yes.
And every week,
Safe harbor.
somebody who doesn't care what people think is just going to do what they do.
Yes.
And by the way, you know what's fascinating? The innocent security guard, you as a warlock, the innocent security guard approaching,
Yes.
you're zapping him with a lightning bolt,
Yeah.
as opposed to taking Dixon and making him forget cigarettes even exist. You have that power as a warlock, saving his life. But no,
yeah.
you're destroying
You're right.
the life of an innocent security guard with a lightning bolt.
This guy's got a family.
Is he laying on the
making
ground
minimum
dead?
wage.
What happened?
You're
All
right.
because of a cigarette. Adam Carolla, use your warlock powers for good, except for the hour of Adam Carolla embraces assholes.
I should have done with Dixon's lungs what Tabitha did with that ice bucket.
Yeah.
Just perpetually made it full of smoke. All right. Did we bring it home, Gina Grad?
We'll do it right now. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
You're adorable. Look at you, you fucker.
Gina Grad.
That was the news with Gina Grad.
Max Zapata, James Dixon's bid on the state.
Yep.
If that's at your fingertips, I don't know.
Character.
If the character, the state who represented, God, what's his name again? I can't think of his name.
Tom Lennon.
Yeah, Tom Lennon did a James Dixon character
really?
on the state.
Really? I never
Yes,
saw
of
that.
course. I don't think anyone knew
It's just
who
a joke for 10 people.
Dixon was, but if you know James Dixon, it made you laugh like a maniac. And say what you will, James Dixon was recognized in a subway car by a fan of the state
voice.
as James Dixon, the
So
agent.
great.
That's a deep cut. All right, let me hit Simply Safe. No one should feel unsafe at home, period, and that's why they're Simply Safe. Protect your home. Do it today. Get free shipping. 2 eyes. SimplySafe.com/M. All right, just 30 seconds of James Dixon as the state.
I really didn't think it mattered who your high school guidance counselor was. That was before I met James.
Yeah, he's the best.
Most people live under the misconception that high school is supposed to take 4 years, right? I've gotten kids out in 2. I got one kid out in a semester. You know, it's all about finessing, greasing the wheel.
No, you listen to me, Coach. You listen to me. I've got a note here signed by 2 medical doctors that says that Bobby is allergic to chlorine. If you put him in the pool, it'll kill him.
Let's see if he calls my bluff. I've been with all the biggest talent agencies. I was with the William Morris Agency. I was with ICM. I was with the Creative Artists Agency. and now I'm here at Westbury Hall.
I asked James if he would write my term paper, and he didn't do it, but he got the guy who wrote Witness to do it. I got an A.
70% of the kids I represent go on to the Ivy League, and these are B-, C+ kids with little or no extracurricular activities. Some with criminal records. You know, nothing bad. Nobody killed anybody or anything. You know, actually, that's not true.
I got expelled for knifing a teacher. James couldn't get me back into school, but he sold my story to Paramount, so now I'm set for life.
And if you think that French is going to improve his pole vaulting, I just want to know one thing. Where do you get your crack? I play hardball, but if you scratch my back, I scratch yours. One hand washes the other. Look, you can tell the Massachusetts Institute of Technology to kiss my ass. Look, you ruined my melon. Bottom line, at the end of the day, it's not about the money, and it's not about me. It's about the kids. The kids whose last names start with A through M. Heronsburg through Menendez.
That makes me laugh every time.
That's very funny. It's a great premise.
It's so
Putting
awesome.
somebody, a power agent, to a
As your guidance
school
counselor.
guidance counselor. That's a funny premise.
All right, yeah, I got Mr. Tomey, who was nothing close to that. You can go to AdamCarolla.com and find out where I'm doing stand-up everywhere. Reno, coming up, Virginia Street Brew House, December 7th, and live shows everywhere.
But what about January 25th?
January 25th, Park West, everyone, Chicago. And we can also all visit Park West tonight when we go to Netflix and watch Jeff Garlin, our man in Chicago. Available now on Netflix. And, of course, Curb's coming back on the 19th of January and Wednesday nights, 8 o'clock, ABC, the Goldbergs. And Wednesday, you got Crank Yankers on there as well later on in the evening, so you can watch both. And check out Shelby American, and it's out now. It's the new documentary on Carol Shelby. You can go to Chassis and check that out. 2 S's and a Y is Chassis. So until next time, Adam Carolla for Jeff Garlin and Gina Grad and Bald Brian saying mahalo.
What?
Follow the Adam Carolla Show on Twitter at Adam Carolla Show. Follow Adam Carolla on Twitter at Adam Carolla. Also, that's on Facebook and Instagram. You can leave us a voicemail at 888-634-1744 and get your tickets now for everything, including Adam Carolla is Unprepared at Park West in Chicago, January 25th, and other places at adamcarolla.com.